Bazooka Shack.
Good day,
gang. What's going
motherfuckers.
Gang.
It's been a minute.
We're back, baby.
Happy Saturday.
It's honestly been a while since we've all been in the same room together, I feel like. Or actually, no, we've been at the parties and the barbecues, but I guess same room
briefly.
with
That's not really
same
a
room with
room.
microphones.
Yeah, a little different. I was chilling.
I've missed y'all.
Yeah, miss y'all too.
It's good to be back.
Yeah.
It's good to be.
How's everyone feeling today?
I had a great day.
Yeah?
I had a great fuck. Yeah, I went on a hike with our roommate, Leah, and yeah, it was cool. Went up to Boulder and did a hike.
No, and
It was
real
awesome.
quick, I do have to comment on this. Nothing is more entertaining as a Colorado native, West Coast native, is seeing.
This isn't West Coast. This is still Midwest.
No, we're West Coast.
This is
No,
Midwest.
we're like Midwest, man.
Okay,
Dude,
I do,
thank you.
We're
Thank
like
you.
I
Midwest.
do make noises whenever I pass by.
This is like the
something
halfway
that I don't-
point between Midwest and fucking West Coast, but
Okay.
this is still Midwest.
For the
All right.
point I'm getting across is that it's very entertaining to see two East Coasterners or
East Coast.
Coasters, bro.
Who's-
East Coaster.
You're adding like an extra fucking vowel
I'm putting
to
my
it.
fucking beverage on your ass then.
Keep
Anyways,
going.
it's nice to see two people from the East Coast interact because then you get to see Dan in his like natural, like primal form.
Wait, who's Dan hanging out from the East Coast?
So our roommate Leah.
She's from
oh,
Massachusetts.
she's
yeah.
from East Side.
She's from
No,
Massachusetts.
and
yeah.
so the
Say it like
beautiful
that.
thing is like
Massachusetts. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
you don't realize how tame Dan is.
Oh no, she ain't tan. She burnt.
No, I'm saying. But no, that's what I'm getting across. Dan is so nice to us. Even when Dan's being mean to us, he's nice. But when you get two East Coast people in the same room, dude, they're just roasting each other
Yeah.
the whole
She
fucking
has
time.
a way of bringing it out. I
No,
will
I love
say
it, though.
a little bit.
I love it because,
Yo.
like, it sounds so mean, but it's still so clear that, like, it's in a loving way, if you will.
Yeah.
And, like, I kind of want to make it a sitcom.
Yo.
Because they're just talking
You
shit
should have
to
heard
each
us at the
other.
bar last night. Like we were
Like, they're
talking about
just
some
so
weird shit.
like
weird
if you wouldn't
shit.
know better, you're just like, who's abusing who right
Who's
now?
abusing you?
Oh my god.
But it's just all from a place of love, and it's something that, like, I don't think, obviously, you know, if an East Coaster tried to do with someone from the Mid or West Coast, like,
Oh no, yeah.
and, like, if you
there's-
tried having that with, like, someone from, you know, California or whatever, they would probably cry.
It's not even that. It's just like annoying people and like them but annoying them to the point of where they don't want to hang out with you anymore and like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, no, and
or
it's
they
also
just want to
like
like
that
turn you away.
brutal honesty. Like, you're saying it playful, but you're being truthful. Like, when I said a shitty dad joke or whatever, and then Leah was just like, "Oh, you make really bad jokes too." Like, it's just such a direct thing to say to someone, you know,
Uh-huh.
that, like,
Yeah.
I feel most people on the West Coast, they're
Yeah.
just not that direct.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's
definitely.
refreshing, in my opinion. As someone who's always been on that, like, polite, you know.
We gotta get Bruce over with them. They'd be the terrific trio for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Bruce is from Connecticut, and he can talk some shit for sure.
That's great. Yeah. No, I'm glad you enjoyed our little banter this morning. I was dead serious too. I'm like, let's go. Like, quit. Like, we need to go. Like, it's already 9:00. We're trying to go on a hike. You know, you have to battle with like the midday hikers, like, because there's a lot of them because they're all like not getting out onto the trail.
No.
until, like, noon.
This is for Pepsi users only.
Ah!
This
I
was
have a Pepsi. That's
This
close
is
enough,
a
right?
personal bottle. It's only exclusive
I'm one letter off.
mix. Woo! No, for real. Have some. But also pass it down. Pass it around too.
Take one down, pass it around.
Pass it around.
We got one bottle of rum around.
Alex, how many
Yeah,
times?
what's up, Shaggy P? You've been awfully quiet over
They've
here.
been hella quiet.
3.
Alex? 8.
Checkity check.
Phenomenal. Yes.
I love how you didn't even go for a number.
I think-
No, and that was good, Dan.
I think we're
You're probably really good in Spanish. I feel like
I
can you
think
roll
I
your
would be.
R's?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Reggaeton rojo.
Maybe you should take up a salsa class. Find you a nice Latina girl.
there's a story I could tell, but I don't want to get into it because we have a bunch of topics to talk about on the podcast.
Yeah.
That we should get into.
Yes. And
So I see Gabby Petito pulled up. Should we just like dive into that or
whatever
like?
you guys want to do.
Yeah,
Whatever you guys
let's
wanna do.
dive into it.
All right. So this was the
And
topic
Dan-
I picked, but I honestly kind of want it to be an open discussion, just like what you guys have seen and what you guys think. So I gave Jared the link of this this whole timeline of like all the events that happened because like like this couple's relatively young, or they were relatively young. They lived together at Brian Laundrie's house. So Brian Laundrie, all right, let's just I'm just gonna jump right into it. So Gabby Petito, she's from Long Island, New York. They began dating, her and Brian Laundrie, in 2019. I don't know where they met. I don't know like those details, but honestly, I don't think that really matters. So Brian's family is from Florida, and so basically they met in 2019. They got engaged of July of 2019, and keep in mind they're like 22, 23. Like
Damn.
they're a young couple, which is not really that common. Like I feel like I don't know if you guys have seen like young engagements happen, but I haven't personally.
Actually,
I've seen a
I have.
couple.
If I to kind of interrupt you,
But even still, it's
I have.
still young.
Even
Yeah.
I
that's
still
way
feel
too
like
young,
even
yeah.
like nowadays like there's so much more like trials that people have to go through because I feel like young people in general are coddled. I feel like I was coddled, growing up like.
Sure.
But either way, that doesn't really matter. So they got engaged in July of 2020. So a year later, in 2021, they decide that they're going to get a Ford Transit van. Like, it's the small, like, white vans that look kind of like a cube. You guys have seen them, but they're, it's a van. And, I mean, dude, the van life is blowing up. Like,
The pedal vans?
I've known somebody who, like, has legit, like, lived in a van and, like, did the van life for a period of time.
Yeah,
What
no.
did you say?
that's it. The pedo vans, or what kind of vans?
No, not like the pedo, not like the traditional pedo
like
van.
camping
Like
vans.
it's
Oh.
no, it's like a cargo van. It's
Uh-huh.
like a smaller like cargo van, and they just converted it to live in.
Well,
Basically.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I honestly, I think the principle behind it is cool. Like, I feel like done correctly and like
managed
like-
well. Yeah.
yeah, like that would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
But this couple, I mean, it seems like they went into the van life, and this is just my personal opinion. I'm completely speaking from my point of view, but they went into van life so that they could like kind of broadcast it and like just say they're doing it and do it through social media because they actually did have Gabby had a YouTube channel. I don't know if I wrote the name of it down. It might be on the link up there, but it doesn't really matter. They started a YouTube channel, to kind of like to have like a diary of their travels. There's only one video on the YouTube channel, and it's kind of like a primer of them doing it. But either way, I'm trying to think of where I want to go.
So
with
they're
this.
aspiring like social media.
Yeah, it's like they want to use their travels and like they want to actually experience it, which is
Kinda
cool.
cool.
Like I totally that's.
But how old are they? Though you said they're young.
Yeah, they're really
motherfuckers.
young. So
And
they're like
married
20.
with-
I think
Damn.
at
Not
the
married,
current age
but-
they're like 23 or 24
22,
right
okay.
now. So they're a really young
Jesus.
couple, and they actually when they got together, like when they started dating, soon after they both lived together in Brian's home, like at it probably like 21 or 22. Like they lived together in Brian's parents' house for like a year. So like they're like right off the bat like just immediately hooked and like like basically just living together.
Sounds like they're not about that job life.
It's I don't know, I feel like it's a lot of like insecurity with being alone and like just immediately becoming attached so much that you're almost like a couple at that point.
No.
And
Yeah.
so fucking young at 20, like at that current age, like 22.
Yeah.
No, and I
No.
can relate to that because I remember, dude, just a small tangent. When I was 20, I was with my girl, and she was just so desperate to get away from her controlling parents and whatnot, and just random drama happens or whatever. And of course, it gets exaggerated because when you're young, everything is a huge deal, even when it really shouldn't be. But when you're young, you have nothing to base it off of. So any slight change in your life can be viewed as like a major catastrophic thing. And when you're young and in love, and again, you don't have anything to base off, you're just like, oh yeah, let's just live together. And people don't really realize like how big of a commitment that is now.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Like, I've been with my current girl for over a year now, and I'm still like, let's not do that, because then your finances are tied together. Like,
Right.
It becomes a thing where even if you're not happy in the relationship, you stick with it for the convenience of the sake.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up to have that perspective. So, yeah, they got engaged in July of 2020. So a year later, in July of 2021, they get the van and they set out for this like huge road trip. They're going to places like the Monument Rocks, Great Sand Desert, the Great Sand Dunes in Colorado.
Into the microphone. I can't hear you very
I'm sorry. And just like national parks throughout the country, like especially in Utah. So they're doing this whole thing, and so there's a domestic dispute call in Moab, Utah, by this dude named Christopher. So the police respond to it. They come out. They're not at the initial scene, but they pull over the van that they're in, going 45 into 15 mile per hour zone. They pull them over, and I don't know if you guys have seen the dash cam footage from the cop, but
Yeah, I've seen some of it.
The Brian, he's like scratched up, so like they clearly had, or not clearly, but from what it looks like, there definitely was a scrap that happened between them, and it left some physical marks on Brian. It's not as obvious on Gabby, but I'm sure she may have been hit. Who knows?
And emotionally, she definitely.
Yeah, I think they both, were kind of shooken up by it,
Well, he
and
got mauled by a
definitely
bear.
had like a really crazy, conflict that happened. So basically, the cops like talked to them and were like, "Hey, you guys should like separate. Like, y'all need to just like take some time apart." And initially, they're like, "No, we don't want to do that." But eventually, Brian goes to stay in a hotel. Gabby stays at the van. But they're both on. One of the cops that were interviewing them said, they both had the same story. Like, yes, we're in love, we're engaged.
So wait,
And-
but before you go much further, I don't know who are these people, because I don't know anything about.
They're supposed to be
They're
like
just
social media
they're just a
stars.
young
Yeah.
couple that
Just
that
like
decided
random-
to take a
There's
trip.
like random people, like they're not like famous in any way.
No,
or it's
no.
just a,
No.
okay.
The only like
They were
they
aspiring vloggers.
they became
Okay.
famous just through this whole like her
Experience.
going
The
whole story.
her
Okay.
going missing, and yeah.
I didn't know if there's like anything like.
Well, it does get
exponential prior.
interesting because so eventually, well, we'll get to that in a second. I'm just kind of
Right.
going through the timeline
Yeah,
here.
go through it. Yeah. I just want to double check.
Oh, and I do want to say as well that they both were on record as saying they suffer from severe anxiety and were on medication to deal with that anxiety. So these are probably two, and I'm making a really brash assumption here, but they're probably like maybe not mentally all stable, especially being so young and not having
Sure.
life experience, and like right off the bat, like living together and trying to go on this like crazy like cross country trip. So there's a lot of like they're kind of rushing into shit, and it could turn out disastrous. Without the experience.
No, and again, like I was saying, like young and living together is already intense, but being on the road and doing that,
together in a small van, in a small little
So-
fucking van.
So what though? This couple is traveling cross country,
Yeah.
and then they have some sort of incident, and then what's going on though? Like,
well, so they had so it's like it seems like their relationship is kind of crumbling and it's turning to a violent side, and maybe it's perpetuated by Brian. Maybe he has a short temper. It's not known for sure.
Yeah,
But
'cause
either way,
From what I've seen in that dash cam that you were talking about, like when the cop pulls over and she's talking to the cop, she's talking.
Why were they pulled over?
Because he was speeding. He was going 45
Well,
and 15.
no, it was initially the domestic dispute call that
but
happened.
he was also speeding.
Well, hold on.
At like a campsite.
But they're in an RV. Okay, so there's a domestic call that had happened at a campsite,
Yeah.
and they were probably arguing whatever, packing up their shit, and then left, and the cops caught up with them. Dude was
Right,
probably also
right.
yeah,
speeding.
he was
and-
speeding. His defense.
Okay, so they were already kind of in the. Okay.
Yeah.
And his defense was they were like trying to get water or something like
and I
that,
should-
and they were in a rush to get to it, and they were arguing, and that's why because the cop even noted, he was like, "I had to speed up to catch up to you guys,
Sure.
like, what's going on?" And
Right.
then
Clearly,
there was also-
like under some kind of duress if you're driving that fast and not like aware
He's
of the speed
like,
limit.
what's going on here?
I got to
Yeah.
slap that.
And I also
bitch.
want to say that they both like were not trying to incriminate each other at that time. Like they're like, yeah, we don't want any charges pressed. Like, I mean, and I'm sure that's like due to a lot of anxiety with having to deal with the cops and like not wanting to go to fucking jail.
Yeah.
But it
So-
also can be a sign of domestic abuse too, like. and,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, you're dealing with your abuser, like. When you're in that fucked mindset, you want to protect them because you don't want them to be angry at you later. And that is like what was very alarming. It seemed like she was overly defending him. Like, he says I get really upset and manic sometimes, and I really try not to be, but I feel like maybe I am. And that's what was very alarming to me when I saw some of that video. Is like it was like she was overly defending him. But again, on the flip side, he had way more noticeable marks. But that all comes down to
That
circumstance.
could have also
you know?
been that particular battle.
Exactly.
As well.
Anyways, continue.
So yeah, after this whole incident happened, you know, obviously they were in charge and they were let go. You know, they spend a night separate. So there's a few things that happen, like Gabby FaceTime with her father while in Salt Lake City. Actually, so Gabby and Brian were last seen together at this like hotel.
Into the
in
mic,
Salt Lake
I can't.
City.
Thank you.
And then so Gabby makes her last Instagram post. It's crazy because you can kind of like follow the timeline of events at least somewhat through Instagram and like, you know, social media. And that's what like investigators are using to like create an accurate timeline is like, you know, social media patterns and like were they on Instagram? What were they doing on Instagram? Were they posting? Were they looking at shit, liking shit? So yeah, the last Instagram post was on August 25th. And she had this whole like Halloween thing, which is weird as fuck, posting about Halloween in fucking August. You know, she had like a little crochet like pumpkin thing, and they took a
weird.
picture. Yeah, it was just like I don't know. It was a weird post and weird vibes from it. You know, especially since you know Halloween's still far away at this point.
Yeah.
Let me turn my page. So, and then 2 days after that, Gabby's mother receives like these weird text messages. I didn't fucking write down the text messages. It is on the timeline. But it was definitely like something she wouldn't normally send. So she might be off, or maybe it was a homeboy that like sent the message. And then this is where the famous, well, now infamous, like there was this like YouTube video of another couple who like travels across the country. They actually saw the vacant van on the side of the road. You guys may have seen it in the news articles, but like that was like a huge piece of evidence to help with the investigation. Was seeing this like vacant van in the side of a road in a campsite in Yellowstone. Actually, it was in Yellowstone. I'm just looking through my timeline here. And then on the 30th, that's when the weird text message of no service in Yosemite was sent to Gabby's mom, which it's kind of implied that it was Brian who sent that message. Gabby may have already been murdered at this point.
Holy shit,
Yeah.
Gabby's murdered.
Well, and I want to say that Yosemite.
Jesus.
I want to say that Yosemite is 1,000 miles away from where they were supposed to be, in like the Grand Tetons or somewhere in that area. So like definitely like the story is off here. And then on September 1st, Brian returns to Florida. That's when he takes the van and he goes back to Florida, and he's alone. Like Gabby's not there. And then he's seen like at his parents' house. He's like packing up the car and shit. Not packing up the car, but he's packing up to like go on a hike. So it's kind of alleged and assumed that he told his parents what happened, and that he's going off the grid to.
How
kind
do
of
they
protect
know
himself.
all this? Or were they investigating him beforehand? Like, how do they know all this
I mean,
already?
it's honestly, it's probably just from witnesses, or
And
I mean,
just-
and they can use like those the license plate readers. Like, dude, they're all across the country. Like,
Oh yeah, that's
and,
true.
like all like the major
All the
roadways.
cameras and
Yeah,
CCTVs and everything.
So they can read the the license plate. And they definitely read the license.
There's no
plate.
real privacy anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Like you're not getting away with shit.
So basically, and then so on the 11th, on 9/11, Gabby's mother and stepfather finally report that like she's missing. Like they're like they're definitely sure that she's like something's
Like,
up.
yo, we ain't seen her in a minute.
Yeah,
Like,
and
what's
that she's
happening?
gone. And then 6 days later, on the 17th, Brian is reported missing by his parents.
But real quick though, before all that, wasn't there a whole thing where like he was like the cops were trying to figure out information and he just was not. He didn't want to talk to the cops or anything.
Well, yeah, and this is something I heard a podcast with an FBI agent, and they were talking about this case. Like,
Is this a recent case?
I mean, this is still ongoing.
Yeah, it's ongoing
not.
now.
It's definitely
Shit,
not finished.
okay.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, he was not cooperating with the police. The parents weren't cooperating with the police. So they, basically they use the power of an attorney to like hide. That's like a shield for them. Like, hey, we're not talking. We're not saying anything. Like, talk to our attorney, and that's a smart thing to do. Especially if you're guilty, or even if you're not. But it's just like you don't say anything that can incriminate you. Like, you have to keep completely quiet, and you just go through an attorney,
The
basically.
thing is, though, as soon as you do that, though, it sets you out to be like it sets
Well,
you
sure.
out, yeah, to be a criminal,
In the
right?
public,
It's
in
like,
the public eye,
"Oh,
in the public
he did
eye,
it."
But on the flip side, that's what they're angling on, and that's what they try to like pressure you with.
but in the public eye, yes, it definitely seems suspicious. But
But to be
that
convicted-
doesn't matter as much in the confines of the law.
Well, of
that we have
course,
to-
yes.
Yeah, but that's what matters most is that law and that final verdict, and having those words that are either going to be used against you, or if you didn't say anything, then not used against you.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
And all I'm saying is, if I knew, even if I was entirely 100% not guilty, I would definitely go that route. And
Well,
I highly
exactly.
advise anyone else.
Even if I wasn't guilty at all, even if I know
So
I'm
I
innocent,
just want to
go to
preface
lawyer.
with that. I'm torn on it. You can finish it all, and I'll give my opinion. But like, I'm torn on it. But again, I just want to say, anyone, if you're doing anything with the law, even if you know without a shadow of the doubt you're innocent, get a fucking attorney.
This comes
Don't
from
fucking
you.
say shit.
Yeah.
From me. Tell him.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So yeah, there's not much more. So recently they did find her body in the Grand Teton National Park, which is in Wyoming. And they did an autopsy, and they did confirm that it was a homicide. So she definitely was murdered.
How, do you know how she died?
No, I didn't read that far into it. I'm not sure if they did release how exactly like she was killed.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not
and that
sure.
can be a tactic.
I'm not sure about that. But either way, it was
obviously
ruled a
homicide.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And now, just a few days ago, on the 23rd, Brian Laundrie is now like an official suspect in the murder. Obviously, but like now it's like an official thing by the FBI.
Yeah, he's an official
and law
suspect, but
enforcement.
there's no
Yeah,
evidence.
and like
Yeah.
he's been missing, and they have like a massive search party in this park in Florida. I forget what the fuck it was called. It's in the timeline. I didn't write it down, unfortunately, but that was where he was last reported, and they have like a massive manhunt. to look
Oh
for.
wow. Oh wow.
Yeah. So the whole thing's crazy. I mean, it's definitely going to be like a Netflix documentary, and probably a year, if not less.
No,
But,
for sure.
But
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
crazy. It's just like, I don't know. It's like a really tragic story of young romance in the 21st century, and
I can't believe you
trying to
told me
live this
that.
like romantic and like cool life, but just two people who were maybe broken and couldn't get along. And
It's getting wrapped up.
You think
in
that's
it
gonna be
all.
an episode
Yeah.
on Snapped?
Oh God, man, Jesus!
That should be an episode on Snap.
Holy shit!
It may be. But yeah.
So
Wow.
I don't want to sit on this too long because it's very preachy and whatnot. But my biggest qualm with like the whole how much coverage it's getting, and it's been, I'm sure you guys, well, obviously not Alex because he doesn't know any information on this case. So, but
Nor do I. Nor do I.
Thanks, Dick.
well, no, because you didn't realize this was it. You were like, oh, this is happening.
Just thrown under the Ford
it's
Transit.
Very.
But no, I just like how you just point me out indirectly. Like, oh, Alex obviously doesn't know.
Trying to.
Fuck this guy. Goddamn.
But no, but
Hey, do you want to take
Jesus.
a trip to the Grand Tetons?
but
Hey,
so
can I
my
see on the
biggest-
roof real quick?
My biggest qualm is that there are thousands of these cases happening regularly that do not get this sort of coverage, that are way more suspicious and concerning, but we don't talk about because it's not a pretty white girl. Like,
That's true. Totally
I'm
true.
not sure, and I didn't know this honestly until this came out, and finding out more research and everything. There have been over 5,000 Native women that have just gone missing.
Jesus.
What do you mean native?
Not 5 million. Sorry, 5,000. Sorry, that was a way too big
That
a
was
number.
what I said.
5,000, but 5,000 like Native American women
Oh, okay.
that have gone missing within like the past 5 years, and like that's a very high. But it goes back to the whole like serial killers would kill prostitutes or whatever because
Yeah.
they're just viewed as so low like
And
profile
also
importance.
more untraceable than other
Yeah.
people. That's where a lot of it comes from.
It
It's like,
depends-
oh,
it depends
no one's
on
keeping
the
track
killer.
of this individual per se. They don't have like a job to report to. Who knows how they are with their family and friends, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So a little easier for them to disappear, and it takes a little bit for.
And it makes sense why, like, and it's not even just because she's a pretty white girl, but also like because everything's so documented,
Yeah.
and there is social media and
Yeah.
different people interaction. Like, it's gonna get more compared to someone who, like, it's a girl who lives on a reservation, probably has limited social media, doesn't have a following because they're not trying to start
Right.
an
Or just someone who's just
influencer
chilling in the
kind
first
of
place.
lifestyle. And so I don't know. That's the biggest thing that bugs me with it is like it's really not as unique of a case as like it's being presented as, but because of like I don't want to say sex appeal, but it's kind of like on that kind of same angle,
But at
that
least-
is something that the average American or whatever
Yeah.
that's following that kind of stuff can like relate to more.
But now you have that perspective of knowing what the mainstream media has to offer. Like, they're very biased on what the fuck that they do on that type of shit. But, I mean, it is what it is.
But and I will say, it does not look good for Homeboy. I'm leaning towards. I definitely feel like he killed her, just because especially that they ruled that it's a homicide. Like, it feels weird that it's just some random person, and it doesn't seem like
They've probably been having issues physically and different things for
right.
mentally for
And
years,
whether it
so.
was an accident or not, and again, at this point, we're just all speculating.
But here's
So
the
I'm
thing,
not.
But even if it's like a weird accident, if you don't like call someone and like you're not like, hey, like this just happened and I accidentally
Yeah, you're a
dropped
piece
my
of shit
wife
still.
down a cliff or whatever. Like, what can someone help me? You know what I mean?
Right.
If you're like, well, she's like, let me go hide in the hotel and then go back home and pretend like everything's okay. Well, then they're gonna find her homegirl's body at the bottom of the cliff, and then they're gonna be like, well, why didn't you call?
When it comes to something like that, like, the chick has no way of even trying to get out. Like, the best thing she can do is like, hey, you chill in home, which is the van. I'll go take a walk. That's the best thing that she can do before, getting beat down or killed at that point. So, I mean, and even then, like, nobody's gonna fucking be able to witness really anything because they're alone together and they're young.
Yeah.
Of course, and this is all speculation, of course. If the dude's hot-headed, he's gonna, of course, do something when, nobody's gonna see. And that's... So I guess the mystery is why they're more into the story, I think, with the media. But
Yeah.
I do have to agree with Dom. It's definitely more than what is actually nationally presented.
Well, think about this too. Like, how much defense does Homeboy have? Like, if they were
But he doesn't look good though at all.
no,
Well,
no, so-
but
and that's
hold on,
the
wait.
reason I
But
wanna express.
if they were having issues and she was beating on him and then he would like retaliate and be on her, whatever. Regardless, okay, let's say like best case scenario, there was a situation that had gotten out of hand, and an argument turned into another thing. Long story short, she ended up dying, and you killed her because of like she was coming at you and like it was you
like
or her.
a
in the same
self-defense,
point.
yeah.
Yeah.
I totally get, just disappearing low, and then also, and
No, but you call someone. You're like, hey, this shit just happened. What the fuck
That's
do
what
I
I'm saying
do?
though. If it's
like,
a self-defense, then you have no reason to hide it.
But here's the thing. I would argue, and again, this is me not trying to defend the guy because again, we also still at the end of the day
and
don't
also,
know what happened.
I don't know.
But if you're in the scenario where it was a genuine accident, it was self-defense or whatever, like most people, and again, the narrative that's already been built, like, and previously that's came out, you know it's probably not going to end well for you. So I can totally understand that even if it was a genuine accident or fucking something, and again, this is not excusing it, but I can totally understand being like, I just need to disappear. Like, there's no way
That
like
panic
this is going to
sets
go well
in.
for me.
You succumb to the fear.
And the whole thing, like, and it's easy to blame the parents and be like, oh, fucking, yeah, they're hiding for the kid or whatever. As someone who doesn't have a child and doesn't plan to have one,
Wow.
I can still relate to, you can't hate on the parents for trying to protect their kid. Whether he's guilty
I'm with
or
that.
not on any degree, like, if that was your seed, it's your pride and joy. And let's be honest, you're gonna just take his word for it. If he was like, it was an accident, or like, I'm not like the bad guy or whatever, you want to defend your child. And if you say otherwise, either you don't have a kid or you're kind of a shitty parent. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, and saying, like,
I mean, I'm a
even
shitty
if your
person.
kid is a known serial killer, is admitted to and everything, you're instinctively, at least I feel, you're still gonna want to care and be there for them, even if what they've done is a heinous, terrible thing. So, I'm not going to fault them for protecting their kid if that's what they're doing.
All right, let's take a quick vote.
I get that.
Whose mothers would help them out in the case of them murdering someone? All right, half of us.
That makes
half
sense.
Us. You know what I mean? Half
At
of
least
us.
we come to an agreement.
And you guys have the same mother too.
No,
yeah,
no.
that's good,
And
yeah.
all I'm saying, and I'm not trying to make this a thing diss on my mom, but when it came to like choosing like, oh, if I could come live with her, but her boyfriend might not like it, she immediately tried to defer me to someone else in the family. So if I needed a fucking crash pad because I murdered someone, I don't think my mom's helping me out.
Hey, I'm sorry to interject right now, but I have to go pee.
Hey,
kinda
you know
bad.
what? I also have to go pee. How about
Alright.
you guys fill the air unless you
Well,
guys had to go pee?
I mean, actually, I also have to go pee.
Dom?
Just talk to himself.
All right,
Just
I'm
talk to
sold on
yourself,
this
bro.
bitch.
Fill it up, brother. Good day, gang. Bazooka Shack. Do
Please
the
hold.
thing, brother. All right, Ace. You're going to have to get up. Mwah. I love you so much. Come on.
I love you.
I'm waiting till everyone leaves so no one even has an indication what I'm going to talk about. It'll be a surprise.
Man, now I'm scared, man. Now I'm
Which
scared.
would actually be kind of cool for the video then. Because then we don't know what you're talking about. Well, Jay will, because he's editing. But...
Yeah, I know everything. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
A gift and a curse.
Alright, now that we're alone. So everyone talks about self-meditation, and I honestly feel that's a very unutilized thing. You know, just being one with yourself, not having music, not having distraction, especially, you know, anyone who's born in today's day and age, like, you're constantly being bombarded with information and whatnot. So the thing I want to propose is just complete solo masturbation. And what I mean in that is, so you're not watching any porn, you don't think of any fantasy, you don't think of a scenario, not. You're just pleasuring yourself for the sake of pleasuring yourself. You don't create a scenario, you don't create anything that you want. It's just the pure pleasure. Because I feel, you know, we make it a thing where, you know, you have to be like, oh, you know, it's my stepsister and she's stuck, or, oh, you know, I'm choking the bitch out and she's submissive to me, or even a romantic story, or if it's something more pure. And it's like, nah, let's be real. When you're masturbating or watching porn, like, it's a pure carnal thing. So why do we need to create all of these scenarios and whatnot, or even just a visual aid? Like, if you've already masturbated, I feel like you've masturbated before, or at least you've orgasmed before, at least hopefully. If you haven't yet, goddamn, you're fucking up your life. Like, I don't care if you're a murderer. If you haven't orgasmed yet, goddamn. But, I feel like, yeah, we should do... And that's very hard. If anything, I'd argue that's harder than normal, meditation of just clearing your mind. Like, to pleasure yourself but not have, like, an image or an ideal in your head. That might be, like, the most purest orgasm. Like, do you think your cum would be clear at that point? No, probably not, because that's still biological. But at least in your soul, like, it would feel good. Maybe you wouldn't have, like, the shame clean. And real quick, I gotta talk about that. Like, have you ever had, like, where you masturbate and, like, you just feel so bad about whatever you jerked off to or whatever, where, like, you just gotta clean yourself up immediately and dispose of the evidence, compared to, like, sometimes you just have, like, a really good, like, oh, it was a good release, you don't feel bad about it, you didn't watch anything too taboo, and you just chill and you're just like, like, I think there's probably, and there's no way we're gonna get a, like, study on this, but, like, the more raunchier or fucked up porn you watch, the sooner you, like, clean up, to, like, cover the shame or whatever, compared to, like, if it was just like, that was such a good orgasm, you might just sit in it, and I don't mean just, like, wallow in your filth, per se, but you might just be like, and just enjoy it before, like, you do that whole, like, setup. And also, I don't know, I find it very interesting, masturbating is not like cooking in that sense. Like, cooking, you can, like, justify and be like, oh, I'm going to leave this pan to soak. You ain't just leaving your fucking dick or in your surrounding area to just soak in your sin, if you will. Like, nah, you cleaning that shit up right away. Like, it might not, you could be living by yourself. You don't expect no one to come over. Like, nah, or at least I hope not. Like, you down bad if you sit in your own fucking semen or fucking any orgasm juice. Nah. You clean that shit up and you move on with your day. Because otherwise, you're not having a productive day. If you, oh my god, I just burped. Holy fuck. That was pretty awesome. You ever accidentally burp? It's a pretty cool feeling. It's way different to any other accidental thing. I feel bad for chicks, while we're already on the top of sex, how, like, you could accidentally, like, orgasm. That just seems terrible. And maybe with the chick it's different, but with the guy, that's just messy. And there's also the smell, and, like, I'm always intrigued, like, if there's, like, an instinctual thing, if you could, like, differentiate the scent of your own, like, fluid, cum, whatever you want to call it, from, like, someone else, because, like, I'm always, like, hyper aware, like, oh god, I just came, I hope no one else comes in, like, an immediate 2-meter vicinity of me, until, like, I don't even know, at least 15 minutes pass, and, like, I'm obviously not keeping an air freshener around to, like, spray while, after I come, I don't want to get none of that in my dick, chemicals or whatever, but still, just in general, and I feel like maybe, you just came, your senses are heightened, so you notice it more. But, like, I don't know. Viewers, let me know. I imagine this is going on Patreon for all of this. But, have you ever walked into a room and been like, yeah, I smell someone else's semen? Because I haven't. And I definitely felt like I've walked into a room where someone definitely just recently came. Just, like, flushed face, like, awkwardness or whatever. But there wasn't a smell. And I will say, I don't have a very strong nose. I'm kind of thankful for that. Can you imagine, like, you have a dog nose and, like, you just broke as fuck, you just got out of high school, you got, like, 6 roommates, and you just have such a strong nose that you could just smell after one of your roommates jerk off? And then they come in, they didn't go to the bathroom, they didn't wash their hands, they go for the community gallon jug of milk, and then they just drink straight from it. Didn't even fucking wipe off their hands, so now you gotta think, like, oh shit, is there fucking semen on this milk jug handle? Like, that just doesn't sound pleasant. At all. And folks. That's why I tell people I'm lactose intolerant, even though that's a lie. That was a lie that I told you about my lie. I don't give a fuck. I don't actually drink regular milk. I fuck with that cashew milk. Them nuts. Which I think is just wild. Like, how did we figure out we could milk a fucking nut? And I know, like, ha ha ha, you can make the jokes with that too. But also, just the science of that. Like, yo, man, this tiny ass fucking seed? What if we got fucking milk out of that bitch? Like, someone had to have been off some crazy ass drugs just to think of that concept. Or again, maybe they were just stoned and they just wanted a nut for a nut fucking joke. I don't know. Very lowbrow humor. It's something that we constantly have. I'm just saying, I think if any sort of actual nut could come like a human, almonds would bust the thickest nut. What?
What if Ben Simmons came to the Nuggets?
I would cry.
What's happening with that?
We're gonna get into this.
Legit, the only reason I want that to happen is so I can rub it in your face.
Oh!
Okay, what on the flip side, though? What happens if we traded for Simmons and then Simmons just balled out for the Nuggets? How would you feel then, Dan?
I honestly, like, I wouldn't care just because.
I told him that's what I wanted too.
Whatever.
I think that would be dope.
I mean, yeah, I honestly, that would just make my opinion of Ben Simmons even less than it is now, so whatever.
My biggest beef with it, and it's not even necessarily my hate on Ben Simmons or anything like that, my concern is that the Nuggets haven't got to have our full core just fully healthy in a playoff series with MPJ ascending to the level he has. I would be upset if we traded Murray for Simmons without, like, giving it a real chance. I feel like it's just like jumping the trigger just because Ben Simmons does have more of a sex appeal, I guess, than Murray.
Yeah,
Slash just the drama and attention surrounding him.
Ben Kardashian.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of a sucker for a player to want to leave, not necessarily leave or get traded to a different team and then just ball out and kind of just make the other team look bad
also,
for that. I'm a sucker for that. I like
Here's my
that.
thing,
Yeah.
whether he's still with her or not, I don't want
What?
any athlete that's been with a Kardashian or Jenner.
Oh, okay, we're getting into that.
They're
My
just
bad.
cursed, man. It just
Yeah.
brings bad
Yeah.
energy and mojo. Like, just simple fact that knowing the history, you still chose to fuck with the Kardashians, that shows me you just have poor mental choices in life in general.
You also
So
gotta
how
think,
do I expect you to have good mental aspects coming into a sport?
Okay, you also got to think he's still a young cat too, though.
Yeah, dude, you're a young millionaire. You don't have to fuck a Kardashian.
No, but okay.
There's so
okay,
many other
but hold up.
Instagram models.
To be devil's advocate, right? You're a young guy coming into the league, right? You came from a different country and you came into America to play
Australia,
for LSU.
so don't act like he's from fucking Somalia and he doesn't understand fucking American customs or anything like that.
Whether or not that's still a difficult process to have to go through. Me, you, Dan, or Jay can never ever even know what that's even like. Let's be honest.
Okay,
And-
cool. Luca came from fucking Europe. He ain't out here fucking Kardashians, nah.
Serbia?
No, Jokic came from Serbia. Luca, he came from Slovenia, I think.
Are you sure? I thought he did come from Serbia.
No, Jokic came from Serbia. And I'm confident on that. But either way, I'm just saying, you get these European guys, you don't see them fucking with them no Kardashians.
Well, clearly Ben Simmons doesn't have any respect for his own fucking country, let alone the country that he plays NBA for. He's only really self-interested in making money and being a fucking big star. Like, that's at least what I see.
Slovenia.
I think
Yeah.
he's disrespectful. He disrespected the city of Philadelphia. He disrespected the Sixers organization.
You don't think that Philly in itself, though, is a pretty harsh city
No,
for
it
when
is.
it comes to
No, it
sports,
is.
though?
But I feel
Because they care about the sports and like they want whoever's playing for the team to like put it
No,
effort
no.
and to
Simmons
play
came
hard.
But Simmons came in as such a hyped player, and Philadelphia knew that, and I think they overhyped him in a sense. Maybe even just the draft itself overhyped Simmons because he couldn't progress.
I disagree. No.
You disagree? In what
No.
sense?
I think the biggest issue is Simmons, in my opinion, honestly, his best position is at center.
So what do you think his biggest problem is?
He's played out of position.
That he doesn't fucking he doesn't shoot. That's
Okay.
his biggest fucking problem is that he doesn't take steps to improve
No,
his
but-
fucking game.
So my whole thing is Ben
That's what I say.
Simmons-
Progression.
There's
is
no
the problem.
progression.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
No, but also my biggest issue is Simmons. He seems like he's this kind of player. He's kind of like the Giannis archetype in the sense you have to build the entire team around him. Compared to they asked Ben Simmons to play around Embiid, which rightfully
Yeah,
they
do you
should.
understand that? Yeah, do you
Embiid is the better player. But my whole thing
Well, I will
is,
say that's the fault of the organization
yeah,
of the
no,
Sixers.
they should.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
They should have traded Simmons 2 years ago when it was obvious that he was not a good fit.
No, they should have honestly have. This is probably okay, but honestly, I think they should have traded him when he got drafted to the 76ers and then allowed Embiid to go through the process.
Not trade him right away. Give
Why
him
not?
that year or two to build. No, because you.
No,
he's
because
gonna
you
have more ability.
you want to spend money on him, give him a year or two to see how he does, and
No, but that's
whether
what
or not.
I'm saying. 2 years after you drafted him, he's still on his rookie contract. You keep him through his rookie contract right before he
Fair
gets
enough.
his
Okay,
extension.
okay.
That's when you trade him because he still had. We forget before this year there was potential where it was basically going to be James Harden for Ben Simmons.
Ugh. Yeah.
No, that would have been great for Philly. That would have been great, but they were just so hell bent on holding on to what Ben Simmons could be without acknowledging what he already is.
And that's why I think one of the exactly.
But that's my concern that the Nuggets might trade
Jamal
because
Murray?
Ben
They're not
Simmons-
gonna trade though. Like, come on. Like, these rumors are fucking ridiculous.
But if they
I
do,
honestly would be I would be genuinely surprised if the Nuggets actually fall.
but
through
even if they
with
do,
that.
do you know who they're probably going to give up for that?
Yeah, well, Dom and I talked about it. Monte Morris, Bol, and Will
Aaron
Barton.
Jamal.
And
They would have to get rid
we
of
said
Jamal.
Will Barton and possibly Aaron Gordon.
But I don't know how.
I don't know because we just got Gordon because of his
Well,
contract.
no. And that's the thing. I don't know necessarily because it was a contract extension, not a re-signing. So I don't know necessarily how the rules go. Like if we would have to wait to trade him or whatnot. All I know is if the Nuggets trade and they trade Murray, Nuggets fucked up. Because even Murray with injury potential and whatnot, like you're rocking the boat for no good reason. Like the Nuggets aren't going through turmoil. And I don't know. That's what I feel what's gonna happen
I don't
when
know.
they.
The Nuggets seem kind of stagnant though, as far as like, I mean, they have their roster right now, but you know they're a contender, but they're definitely not like a whole threat.
No, they
to
are
win
though.
the West.
They are. That's why they're known for this as a
all
sleeper team.
it takes is an injury to the Lakers.
Murray's just like
He
too
is.
inconsistent.
He
Like,
is pretty inconsistent, yeah.
I think this is kind of a
But
known
no,
thing.
the thing I'd argue with that is Murray was having the best season of his career before his injury. He was averaging over 20 points.
Yeah, but that's
Over
regular
7.
season. That's not like in the
Okay.
playoffs.
But
In
no,
the
to be
playoffs,
fair,
he plays better.
He did 50 points. Yeah.
Are we talking about the bubble? Because the bubble, like, obviously gets that asterisk, and I know you.
Okay, he didn't get to play in the playoffs in the next year after the bubble, so we don't know. And that's what I'm saying. We have no idea if it was just a bubble effect. We have there's no way to discern.
Okay, but obviously you're gonna lean on the optimistic side of that. And
Of course, as a homer,
non-fan
yeah.
is gonna.
Well,
be-
because you also got to realize, so the regular season is the regular season still, and your whole point is to get to the playoffs. And you have a player that's able to not only kind of ball out during the regular season, but ball out even more for the playoffs. That's essentially a player that you want to
and for me,
go around.
For me, it's I take from like I feel Jamal Murray falls in the same vein as Donovan Mitchell, and Donovan Mitchell has shown even outside the bubble, he elevates his game to a different level in the playoffs. And I think it's one of those things where Jamal Murray always has had that talent and that skill. But when you're in the regular season, especially with Jamal Murray, even before this injury, he has been injury prone. So in the regular season, 82 games, that's a lot. You're taking it easier on your body. So you're not playing your heart out because it doesn't matter as much. And also, you want to build your teammates up. You want them to have the confidence. So when you're in the playoffs, they know that you pass it to them. You believe that they can make that shot. But at the same time, when it's in the playoffs, you know that you have that skill that you can take over like that. And I feel like that's a certain mentality that Jamal shares. That if he really wanted, Jamal Murray could average 25 points, in the regular season.
A game, yeah.
But he knows that he doesn't need to do that. And he should focus more on saving that for the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. Because he knows that Jokic is essentially going to ball out.
Because he knows he's injury prone and doesn't want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the same as Embiid. And Embiid's not going to play as hard in back-to-back games because he doesn't want to injure himself and take himself out for the playoffs.
I think Joel Embiid, he plays hard, but then he has those like games where he rests, so he can play hard in another game.
Which, speaking of which, real quick, slight shift. I think this is interesting. Apparently, Zion Williamson is pissed at the Pelicans because they put him on that minutes restriction because they wanted to conserve his health, and he was like insulted by it. And he wanted to play way more, and he felt like they were holding him back. And apparently he's like ghosted the organization pretty much most of the offseason. And so the crazy thing with that is Zion, there's the potential he might become, because this is legit never happened, when you're like a superstar young player like Zion is, they always sign the Supermax if it's offered, or the max extension, the rookie extension. And there's a chance that Zion becomes the first player that doesn't do that. And that could have crazy ramifications for the league. Because then that basically means if you draft a star player, you have until the end of their 4-year rookie contract to start building a competent team. Compared to before, you've had teams where they'll sign that extension for the money, and then you have those other 4 years. And so I think it's interesting. It's putting a way shorter leash on teams where, like, if you have a good player, you have 4 years to make, or honestly less than that, like 3 years to make that team a contender before a player's. I mean, hell, we're looking at Ben Simmons.
2 years, yeah, 2 years. That's what you were talking about, 2 years.
And I don't know. I'm not sure if that's good for the league because, like, it takes a while to make a dynasty, man.
And it puts pressure on players and these young kids to live up to the hype. I mean, Zion lives up to the hype, though. He's going to be one of those players that you're probably never going to see again, to be perfectly honest with you. I really think he's going to be one of those players.
Once-in-a-generation talent.
Yes, once-in-a-generation talent. And he is. And I thought, personally, Ben Simmons was that as well. Until it's just his progression, he can't progress to what today's game is.
There is no progression. He's just like kind of stayed.
No, you know
he's regressed. He's honestly regressed.
Yeah, exactly. He's only passing.
Today they dropped footage of Simmons doing just workout stuff with John Wall.
What, working out at LA Fitness again or the YMCA?
Yeah, and he hit a 3 on John Wall, and it's like, oh, like. I don't give a fuck that you hit a 3 on John Wall.
How many threes did he have to hit in order to get that one, though? How many threes did he brick?
Well, not even that
one.
The fact that he attempted one, because he just doesn't attempt them in the regular season, so.
He doesn't even attempt to go into the fucking basket.
What a fucking bum.
I want Ben Simmons traded before the season starts, but not to the Nuggets. For God's sake, please not to the Nuggets.
Honestly, you know who I would like to have on the team? I would like to have John Wall on the team.
No.
No? Why not?
He's old, relies on athleticism too much. He's not even an efficient mid-range mid-range shooter, let alone a 3-point shooter. Yet he still shot over 6 threes a game last year. I don't want that on the Nuggets. Terrible spacing.
Fair enough, but maybe he's trying.
I honestly
work on his 3-point.
Want the Nuggets to just stand pat this year. Wait for Murray to get back, reevaluate at the end of the season.
So you
don't
have,
rock the boat.
So you have no expectations of us making the playoffs this
season? No, we're gonna make the playoffs. I don't expect the Nuggets to win a championship, but I just expect us to build chemistry, get Murray back, have MPJ make a jump, but just chill. We're not gonna win the ring this year. The Nets are probably winning it. Sorry.
Maybe.
I
If they can
see
stay
that.
healthy. If they can stay healthy.
Well, no, and also, is Kyrie gonna get vaccinated? I saw things, so I didn't realize over 90% of NBA players are already vaccinated.
Makes sense.
Well, yeah, they don't want to lose out on the money. The only two players that I've heard that are high profile is Andrew Wiggins and Kyrie Irving. But
Andrew
he's
Wiggins
vital
didn't
to
get
the
it?
Nets.
Why
Not
did-
only did he not get it, he tried to apply for religious exemption, and the NBA denied it. And
Wait,
they're
who?
like,
Who-
Andrew Wiggins.
Oh, Wiggins? Okay. Okay, that seems like something Irving would do too.
Well, no matter what, they can't play, but they were trying to, like, apply for a religious exception, and they got denied. Or at least Wiggins got denied.
Okay.
And we'll see whether or not that has a financial implication or not. But anyways, enough with the basketball talk.
Yeah, I was gonna say, should we move on to another topic? Transition.
Yes. So
what?
Flight Reacts made a song.
Real quick, for anyone who doesn't know,
Yeah,
who's
no one
Flight
knows.
Reacts?
So Flight Reacts is a YouTuber, and he essentially reacts to like shit or whatever, or he plays.
What in
2K.
particular does he react to? All right, basketball stuff.
Yeah, so he does basketball stuff, or he will also do him playing basketball too. So like 2v2s. He's on the line of Cass Nasty if you don't know who that is, but not really. He's more of a reactor too. So apparently he made a song with Blueface or whatever, and he did a reaction of someone reacting to the song. And of course, anytime you're gonna get this, you're gonna get the person that's reacting to the person reacting. They're gonna be like, "Oh, my bars went hard." And obviously, you guys heard the song. There was no bars at all, and if anything, Blueface killed the song better than Flight
No,
did.
I disagree.
You really?
Because you want to know what I hate about Blueface in particular in that song? What I heard is the hardest bar that Blueface had was him bragging about, like, "Oh, I'm coming in on beat," and then the beat dropped. Like, that's what's expected, homie. Like, I hate how his whole signature thing is that he's off beat. That when he's on beat, it's a big deal.
You want to know though
If you
why?
wanna be the offbeat guy-
But here's the thing. But that's the only okay. Other than that, what was up with the verse?
Yeah, at least he had a verse. You know what I mean?
No,
No,
not-
here's the
what do
thing.
you mean, at least?
Here's the thing. It was
you hear
it was a
Flight
bad verse
at all?
that was purchased, and Homo was like, "All right, I'm taking this verse, but because it's weak sauce or whatever, or not the paycheck that I want, here's a little verse," and it wasn't anything serious.
Right, yeah, no, yeah, it was just him clearly fucking around. He's like, "Oh, this dude paid me a
Yeah.
bunch of money. And because I know he's a popular YouTuber, it's gonna get traction." Yeah, it just felt very lazy.
No, I'm not gonna take it as a serious song at all. But I'm just saying,
It all felt very lazy.
and it was, of course. I find it funny the fact that a guy he's gonna react to someone reacting to his song and not expect that someone's gonna be like, "Hey,
I don't
this
know.
is pretty trash."
That's literally.
And then you just get up out of your seat like, "Oh, that was a banger." Like, no, it really wasn't, guy.
I feel like it's like milking the already dead cow.
Yeah, but they don't know it's dead.
No, he knows it's dead, but he just doesn't care. Because it sells that. But also, I think
If you
that's
saw
a
him
testament.
reacting, you would believe that he
I just-
really tried on that.
I think this shows how far Blueface has fallen, though. That he's just having to take, regardless of how much money, Flight paid him, the fact that you're just having to do a feature on a YouTuber's fucking song for money/clout, like, you're down bad, homie.
I mean, it might not even necessarily be for clout, but it's just for the paycheck at that point.
That's still that's
It's clout,
still down
it's clout
bad.
for the YouTuber,
But also, if you had like a
that is, yeah.
oh shit, all right. But also if you had like just a little extra free time, if you can make the quick, little something real fast, why not though? Like it doesn't mean that you're down bad. Like
I feel overall it damages your brand.
Not necessarily.
Because you're known as the rapper that for the right fee, a fucking shitty.
I think
YouTube
okay.
can fucking
I think in this
it waters down the catalog.
In
That's
this,
already watered
in this
down.
perspective, yes, because between the song already not being well and his verse not being all that in particular, you're right in that watered down the brand. But I don't know if the overall statement of like that kind of like outreach would remain the same.
I'm just feeling if you're a poppin' rapper and you're doing successful, I'm sorry, you're not gonna see Lil Baby just featuring some fucking random YouTuber who.
Well, no.
Lil Baby has
but
way more priors,
But hold
though.
on. Be clear. It's not Lil Baby featuring whatever. It would be Lil Baby featuring on someone.
Yeah.
But still, and so this is what I was curious on. How many views did that song have?
We can find out real quick. Unless look it up.
Because I feel
What's
like
the song called again?
What do you mean? It's your fucking topic. What's the song called again?
I'm not remembering the
what
song
the fuck
name.
are you talking about?
I don't give a fuck about the song.
Jesus fucking Christ!
This kid. This just proves how bad the song is.
Well, yeah.
Because I don't know. It was easily one of the worst songs I think I've heard this year. No cap.
It's pretty bad.
Like, I almost was like, yo, let's throw on some Miley Cyrus. I felt like she had more bars in that 23 song than fucking either one of the guys came with that.
Bitch, you got the check.
Yeah, no, and it just, I just hate, just that overly
Waka
repetitive.
Flocka would have done
old school-
way better on that song.
Waka Flocka,
Back in the
as
day,
an EDM artist, would do better on that song.
yeah. No.
Yeah.
You find it?
Yeah, so on Flight's actual YouTube of him posting it, which is what I'm gonna declare it on.
Right.
The actual
That'd be him.
views, which was him posting it 2 weeks ago, has 177K views. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and see. I want to see how many dislikes and likes it has. But
Well, that doesn't matter as much, but it's got 177. That's not much.
Yeah, no, that's not.
How
As far as YouTube goes.
as compared to the
Okay,
the
get this
reaction.
though.
Wait, hold on, wait. As compared to the reactions.
Well, let me tell you. So, for just the dislikes itself, he has 437 dislikes compared to his 130 or whatever to his likes.
Yeah. How many the reaction of the stuff? The reaction of the reaction.
So, like
how,
the comments.
No.
What do you
No,
mean
the
by
video he
The
had where
original
he's
video that
reacting.
we saw of the dude reacting to the song that he had dropped. How many views does that video have as compared to the song?
I don't know that one. Let me check.
Because that's what I'm saying is it's milking, like, it clearly already didn't have that high of stuff. So that just seems he's milking it for even more. It's like one of those where you want people to hate on it just so you can react to it. To then, even if it gets half as many views, it's like you get 1.5 views on that original. And all I know is so what is
So the video that we saw, me and you saw, Jay, that has about 364K views.
compared to the original, which had how many?
177.
So the reaction has
More than the actual video that was posted.
No.
from the creator.
It's not even the reaction. It's the reaction of the reaction.
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
So
Yes.
That is the worst
wait.
ratio I
So-
think I've ever
Yes,
heard.
The song
Yeah.
So the song came out, and then the artist who had the song and he had the feature from Blueface was like online and was like, yo, was talking about it, was like stopping every couple seconds, like, yo, fucking bars, freaking out, flipping his chair and shit. And then this other guy reacted to the whole him reacting to the song. And yeah. And
That
he's like,
has,
dude,
like,
you haven't
double the
even said
views.
anything yet. What the fuck you talking about bars? You just opened up with
Okay, I lied. Misinformation. I'm blind. 13K likes to 400.
Again,
37
I don't care as
dislikes.
much about the likes
Yeah,
and dislikes.
yeah,
it's the
that
views.
ratio doesn't mean anything. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, again,
All it goes to show is that, oh my god, that is such a terrible song that you get almost double the fucking views on reaction to reaction of
Yeah.
the song than the song itself.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything else to say on this? Because otherwise, I'm prepared to talk about real music.
so hold up. One more thing. So not only with the one that we watched did that have 364K views, but there's another one that he reacts to someone who also reacted to his song, which was 2.3 million views.
That is such a crazy ratio.
Hold up. Sorry. This was a year ago, so this must have been a different song.
Oh,
so
okay.
never mind.
All
Yeah.
right. False
Yeah,
information.
irrelevant. But
Either way, that's such a terrible ratio. Let's talk about some fucking dope music. J motherfucking Cole. He came out here, Heaven's EP. I fucking gave me goosebumps, which I've not felt from J. Cole in a while. And don't get me wrong, J. Cole's always been one of my upper echelon kind of rappers. But a lot of it felt like he was phoning in or just doing like what was expected of him. His new song, Heaven's EP, it legit, like, I don't know, it was just very raw. Like, he had some amazing bars, like, always brings that lyricism, as J. Cole does. But just really giving, like, a view into his life. And I feel like that's pretty difficult when you're, like, a major successful artist to, like, be relatable at all. But in this song, which first off, I didn't even realize off the beginning, it's a remix of a song on Drake's Certified Lover Boy, Pipe Down. Phenomenal beat. Phenomenal. I didn't even appreciate it when Drake did it. Like, it was honestly so forgettable. The song, I didn't realize even the name of it until after J. Cole did it, and then I rechecked out that song. And I've listened to Certified Lover Boy 3 times over at this point. That's just how unimpressionable Drake's verse was compared to J. Cole's. And real quick, just side note with that, Drake is honestly, he's very underrated with his beat selection. He has some fucking crazy, phenomenal beats, but I think just Drake, with his auto-tune and fucking pop commercialization, it detracts from how phenomenal his beat selection is. So many of Drake's songs, if you just want to go to instrumental to freestyle over, pick any random fucking Drake song off an album, it's probably going to be a fire-ass beat to rap over. But I just loved how J. Cole, you know, he's talking about how he's this super successful artist and how in this song he talks about how he could probably be way more poppin' and way more beloved, but he's not very big on that whole social media. He's not out there being on red carpet. He feels awkward with that, and that's something I can relate to. Just obviously I'm not in any degree of limelight that J. Cole has, but
or have experienced the red carpet in any sense.
But I just
way,
mean in general, like, having any sort of attention on you and not knowing how to properly, like, react to that. It can be a very difficult thing, like, when you've just grown from not being shit to all of a sudden now you're fucking someone of importance and having to, like, act that way out. And I also love how I think J. Cole, like, he might be one of the hardest, like, guys to, like, current, like, major rappers to really, like, even try to start beef with. Because even when he's dissing on dudes, like, he's so respectful and fucking nice and just, like, kind of giving advice. That, like, how can you really beef with him? Like, when he had the song dedicated, you know, when he's talking about Kanye West or Lil Pump or No Name, like, even though he's, like, throwing jabs at them, you could argue, he's doing it in, like, such a constructive, nice way that if you come at him, you kind of just seem like the asshole who's just, like, very defensive and whatnot, because he's just, like, pointing things out. And even in this album, in this song, he says how, like, oh, everyone wants to give me the bronze. I view, you know, K-Dot and Drake as superstars. Like, he's still giving them their props, but then later in the song, he says, I'm the best breathing. You just have slept on it. So he's still declaring himself in his own mind as the best rapper. But before he did that, he acknowledged his, let's be honest, two biggest rivals when it comes to hip. Like, in my opinion, if you're a serious hip hop head in any sense, I think it's a consensus agreement. Drake, Kendrick Lamar, and J. Cole are the top three current.
Oh yeah, facts.
You could try to wiggle some other people in, and I'll listen to the argument. But I feel the consensus agreement, those are the top three right now.
Kendrick Lamar probably arguably has the...
No, and it's going to come down to a bias. Like, you could argue that Drake has the best commercial success. You could argue that J. Cole's the most consistent, regularly dropping. But then, in my opinion, you could argue that Kendrick drops the most elite when he does. So, like, they all have the different things they excel at. I could see you arguing any one of those three as the top. But I don't think there's any other current artists, as far as hip-hop, that you could place in the top three other than them. If you're being honest and not just super biased. And so I just love, like, he disarmed it by saying, like, oh, I acknowledge these two other guys and they're awesome. And so it's interesting. This just happened last night. Drake and J. Cole both performed at the same show. And Drake, like, made a whole point to, like, stop the show and, like, talk to J. Cole and be like... And he brought up the whole, like, I know you said the bronze thing or whatever. And he didn't directly say, like, oh, you're better than me. But he said, you are one of the greatest rappers to be in the game or whatever. And Drake does the same thing similar to J. Cole. Where he's smart. He gives his flowers. He doesn't try to make it a contest. Because let's be honest. If there were to be a beef between J. Cole and Drake... J. Cole's washing him.
Facts.
So Drake preemptively is like, yo, you took my instrumental, you fucking bodied that, you're one of the greatest ever. Now he's giving the dude the flowers. You can't hate on Drake, even though J. Cole did way better with his own song. It's a genius marketing play, without a doubt. And I'm not saying that Drake isn't being genuine in giving J. Cole his flowers, but it's such a smart move. And also, I just find it very interesting how, like... You see J. Cole giving his flowers to Drake and Kendrick. Drake giving his flowers to J. Cole. Since fucking Poetic Justice, we haven't seen Drake and Kendrick fuck with each other, period. So, my little tinfoil hat, they got some subliminal beef, and maybe it's just, you know, the artistic competitiveness. But I don't think we're ever going to see Drake or Kendrick acknowledge each other. Like in the sense of like, oh yeah, this is one of the top guys. Like, it's always going to be that subliminal, but I think just that like competitive edge, they're always just straight competitors and they're not going to like acknowledge in the way that like J. Cole gets acknowledged by both of them. Maybe we'll see like, you know, when they're in their like 40s or 50s or whatever, when they age... We'll see them, you know, finally, like, actually collab together again. Like, you know, when it's like, oh, whole beef set aside, we're not in our prime sort of thing.
We just trying to make money.
Not even make money, no. No, because...
Let's come together and just...
Because here's the interesting thing that and this is something I really love with hip-hop. I always consider, like, music, you know, similar to sports in the sense that you have, like, competitive and but it's not as, like, absolute and definitive as you have with like sports. But the nice thing about with music, your prime is not necessarily set to a certain age. Like you could argue like most artists, their prime is when they're in, you know, their mid to late 20s, early 30s, because they're most in tune with like whatever their current era, like style and genre is. But we've started to see there's a lot of artists that when they can learn to grow and adapt to the current climate, you can have an artist that they were popping when they were in their late 20s, and they're still super popping in their 40s, and it's not just off nostalgia, because they've learned how to adapt and base. And I think we're going to see that more and more with this generation. Like, the current generation we have in their prime, I could easily see Kendrick in his 50s still dropping jewels that, like, are phenomenal. And that's why I kind of think we might be hitting a new golden era of hip-hop. And this could be my own bias, because obviously I grew up in all of this, but I feel like we're starting to hit that age where, you know, we're starting to cycle through the guys that were very short-sighted, the Little Pump, these artists that mumble rap, whatever you want to call them, that they don't have any actual substance. They had their hot streak, but now their audience is starting to grow and age. And so now we're going to start seeing, the Cordays, the JIDs, these sort of artists that they're still primarily hip-hop and rap, but they're able to, like, cross-genre, and that's the beautiful thing. I think we hit this weird snag where, like, you had a lot of the old heads, and they didn't fuck with, like, this cross-genre shit and, like, not lyrical focusedness. Or, like, I think Baby Keem, he's a huge forefront of it in the sense that, like, when he wants to be, he can be very lyrical, but they're very getting in tune with, like, harmonizing and having more of that melodic tone, maybe more R&B touch, but it's still hip-hop at its core. But on the flip side, too, you got, like, the Suicide Boys, and you get more of, like, that metal, like, horrorcore, and, like, I don't know, we're hitting this age where... Hey, come here. Come here. No. But, where we're hitting... where people can relate and accept more of these cross genres. Hell, and maybe this is just me getting older, I can now fuck with some country, but I still prefer it to have other artistic style. But we're starting to be more comfortable with it. Or even Lil Nas X, someone who I don't fuck with. I think he's very gimmicky or whatever, but I still definitely feel that he's opening doors for artists to be more comfortable with cross-genre shit while still staying true to their style. And real quick, though, I do want to comment on this because I just found this info out today. Tell me what y'all think. So, for Lil Nas X's debut album, Montero or whatever, which I still haven't listened to, but just going off the numbers, tell me what y'all think. He's projected, or pretty much confirmed, that he's going to sell 128,000 in his first week.
Projected?
Well, no, the week's pretty much closed out, so it's
128,000 in the first
album
week.
sales in his first week.
That's not
He
bad.
didn't get number one. Certified Lover Boy still beat him out. He had number two. So my question though is that a flop compared to how hardcore it was promoted? Because 128K, that's nothing to scoff at. If you break 100K in your first week, you're a top tier artist. I don't care what genre or style of music, whatever, right? But with like how much, if you're being honest, like it was thrown in our face, how much promo, had all of these controversial billboards. Lil Nas has had what, 2 platinum singles, if you count Montero. And I want to say that song he had with Jack Harlow. I can't remember the name of it.
That's where that argument also kind of comes into, because like, I don't follow Lil Nas X or like, I don't know, that particular wave, but other than those couple of songs that you just mentioned, and then the whole thing with him being pregnant and giving birth, which I guess was like an album rollout for, for his stuff, because it was like his baby.
Yeah, all that gimmick shit.
And then, there's something else that he did, and then the album came out. So like, as far as like me from the outside, up until like the billboards are coming up, and like I, as like someone who's like followed like music, understood that this guy's renting out billboard space, therefore there's an album coming out. If I didn't know any better, I wouldn't have known that he had an actual album coming out.
Right, and so that's the thing I would argue is, like, the amount of promo, you would think he would sell 200K or above. Like, the way he's been, like, shoved in our face.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you remember, though, when, after the very first song, Old Town Road, and then it had the remix and, all the little things around it, it was time for him to now have a follow-up. And there was a lot of scrutiny and eyes on him. And people were talking like, is he only going to be a one-hit wonder? Is he, like, going to be able to follow up with this song? And people were talking about it. And then he had whatever song came after next, and it did well because he was doing his thing, and then whatever. So like, I don't know. He's had time for all of for anything album like, but I feel like it's been so weirdly put on him with individual tracks and moments rather than an overall arc that would support an album.
Right.
Like, he was twerking on Satan and had these weird, not Nike shoes that were being promoted. But how does all that end up turning into you as someone who is a character in a story that is able to actually produce a decent album that people are actually going to want to buy to follow that story, and rather than like a collection of hits that they're already going to hear on the radio, I assume, like,
well, no,
and then a couple
so
other
the
B-side
interesting
stuff.
thing that I've thought with him, and I feel like this has been obvious early on, like, he's not really a hip hop artist, even though like that's where he got
No,
his
of course.
roots. He's purely a pop artist at this point in my mind, especially. So the interesting thing that I find with pop music, especially with pop like stars, especially superstars, they're very single focused, you know. Let's be honest, even like back with Britney Spears in her heyday, or just in general pop artists, like, unless you're a super fan, you're not listening to that whole album. No, you're only listening to the hit singles, and those singles is what carries it. And that's why I think his album didn't go as far as it did.
Yeah.
For example, prime example,
from.
of course, I've heard those hit singles or whatever. I've not heard a single other song other than those two hits off of Lil Nas's album, because
Sure.
I'm just, unless it's literally thrown at my face like those two were, I'm not seeking it
And
out.
pump through the radio and shit, like.
But
And I
on the
feel
flip
that.
side, even though I don't fuck with Lil Nas X, I don't really fuck with his music. I hate how much, it's thrown in my face. The thing I appreciate with him is as T-Pain was talking about it, how there are so many rappers who are leaving money on the table because they're so obsessed with presenting this like hard like image. And I think that's why like NBA Youngboy does so well, is that he still is rapping about the street and gangster shit, but then he still talks about how his girl cheated on him and gave him herpes. And like that doesn't sound like a very hard, gangster like.
But
if anything,
you're
that's an
being
embarrassing
honest,
thing.
But you're being
but yeah, you're
honest
being
about your
honest
life,
and
it's this
real.
real stories like, hey, this is the life that I've lived, and here's my story with it.
And that's gonna connect and relate to more people. And so that's the thing I'm here for, is having artists being able to be more actually personable and real about like real subjects.
Yeah.
I don't fuck with Lil Nas X because I feel like it's just a gimmick and it's ham-fisted.
It's too
into
fabricated.
The whole, like gay agenda. And it's not anything I'm hating on. It's played out to me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about gay people at this point. And in the sense of like, yes, gay people should have their rights and everything, but it's not special to me. I guess if that makes sense.
Yeah, like using it as a gimmick isn't going to take you as far as actual like would-be talent.
Yeah, actual talent, actually talking about your hardships, real fucking shit going on.
Like, yeah.
Not just
like
pissing off conservatives.
Right, like being who you are should just be as it is, and then your music is also like a piece of it. Like you're a musician and you happen to be gay. It's like, I'm a gay musician.
Like,
it's
as much as everyone
you make music
loved to
and you're
talk
gay
shit
and it's whatever. It's not
on Macklemore, I felt like Macklemore's music when he was talking about, like, because he had that whole song, too, about, like, gay love and everything. Like, it just felt more genuine and
that
real.
felt so pandering, though. I felt.
Still pandering. No, still pandering, without a degree. I'm sorry, in any degree when you're in that mainstream, you're pandering to a
Because
degree.
then he also had the song who's like, oh, I used to clean my room and I thought I was gay. Like,
But it still feels at least a little more authentic than Lil Nas's shit. Is all
Yeah,
I'll
because
say.
he had the whole thing of like, oh, like, how did you guys not know
And
I was gay?
especially-
I had the rainbow inside the cover art. And it's like, what? It was a stoplight, homie. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
like-
It's almost like J.K. Rowling being like, it should be obvious that Dumbledore was gay and Hermione was
Well,
black.
and I think that's the real definition of gay baiting.
Yeah.
Not the other whatever.
Yeah. Did you know they tried to cancel Long Beach Griffey for gay baiting? Just because he does comedy about gay people or whatever, and they said that's him gay baiting, even though it's obviously satire.
Isn't he also gay?
No,
No.
he has a kid.
Yeah, still though. It is.
But I just hate like, oh, it's gay. But it's like, no, he's just doing a satire, but it's not a disrespectful kind of way at least in my eyes. And obviously, you could argue I don't have the right lens for it because I'm not actually gay.
But the term gay baiting, that's such a...
No, what bugs me is you could argue like me being like, oh, hey, Zaddy or whatever, that's me like gay bait. But no, it's me trying to, in all honesty, like, yeah, I do for the jokes and the lulz. But it's also like, I'm trying to normalize it, like...
And who says zaddy? Like, seriously, like, that's not like an actual fucking
Yeah, no, it's
word
just
or
fucking
term.
funny and...
Yeah.
Honestly,
not,
like...
Who says it? Dom says it. That's the person that says it.
But it's just... It's not... There's no malicious intent, and it's me also showing I accept and I fuck with it.
The fuck is going on, man? No. Fuck all this.
I don't know.
Everyone
it's
needs
just
to
weird
fucking
me.
calm the fuck down. What the fuck is happening?
Can we just all have
Jesus
fun, man?
goddamn Christ! The fuck is this? Fucking gay baiting? Race baiting? Fucking everyone calm down.
Yeah, why does everything need a label?
Jesus Christ. Don't put your insecurities on me, you motherfuckers.
I'm just saying.
I'm
if I had the
suicidal enough by
opportunity,
myself. God
I'm
damn.
fucking alien, male or female. I don't care. I just want to fucking.
Fuck yeah, I'm
alien.
fucking an alien.
Male or female?
Hell yeah, man, it's an alien, man. It's out of this world. You're not hopping in that?
No.
All the alien orifices.
Yeah.
I don't care if they speak glib-glar or not. So as long as the consent forms clear through, we're good. And nothing goes up my ass.
I don't think they have.
Exactly. No,
consent
I'm
forms.
fucking the alien. The alien's not fucking me.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how.
No
they do
probes
it.
neither, man.
I don't think there's
Up
any
my ass.
negotiation. You're definitely getting alien dick in you.
What if it was 100 beautiful big titty alien women, but they had to probe you through your urethra once?
No.
Just once.
No.
But it was real small.
I don't-
You'd barely
My
feel it.
urethra's real
You'd
small.
barely
I'm
feel
good.
it.
Yeah.
It would feel like a reverse orgasm. That's all it'd be. A reverse orgasm.
I would know. That would,
No, it sounds like a
ugh.
reverse kidney stone.
Yeah.
Which-
It's like blue balls, but with alien intent.
I like my balls the color that they are.
What? You don't want Smurf balls?
No.
Have you guys ever been with a girl who's like remarked with
No.
your balls like being a peach?
No.
I have been complimented that I have a good sized balls, which I don't
Really?
know what.
What was the
What's the average
circumstance?
size balls?
Well, hold on,
I
hold
don't
on,
know.
no, it doesn't
Apparently,
matter.
I'm above
What's-
average.
Is there senses in there?
No,
like,
it was
what,
Wait,
They were above
wait. You piqued my interest though. Like, what do you mean you got complimented on your balls? Like you tripped and fell and like Granny Smith like accidentally
No,
grabbed your
just
balls. She's like,
like-
oh, Johnny, your balls are very firm and nice size. They're like apricots inside my hand.
I mean,
What happened?
I can't because I didn't ask her to elaborate. From what I take from it is that they were.
Are you getting hand jobs from grannies outside of King Supers? Is that what you're alluding to, Dom?
No, I'm just saying
What's
that
happening?
like my balls have a good enough cushion that like when I'm in there like and they tap you whatever it's the good girth.
Good
You
girl.
feel like you know you're gonna
What?
get pumped with a good amount of juice.
So your basketballs are overpumped.
According to who though? Boy
Multiple
Scouts?
women. I've just been I don't know. I've had multiple different women compliment my balls. I don't know
How
what
many
to
is
take
multiple?
from that.
Like one?
No, like
Two?
three, at least three.
At least three.
At three
complimented
compliments.
you on your balls.
No one's
smacking
insulted
them?
my balls.
No one's insulted my balls either, except for the one time that they went up inside my
But I'm
body. and I
saying
was so
I've had at
confused.
least 3 instances of women complimenting them. And again, I don't. Maybe that's like a backhanded insult,
But-
your dick wasn't good
No, no,
enough,
no,
so
no,
I
but-
feel I have to compliment your balls.
What were they saying about your balls though? Like
That
what
it was
were
a
their
good.
compliments?
It was a good ratio. I didn't have too
Like-
much hair on them. Like
Right.
they were appeasing. Like they're suckable. I have suckable balls.
I kind of think that these girls weren't all about it, and they were like, "Yeah,
How many
yeah,
times
you're
have you had your balls sucked?
How do you
How many times have you had your balls sucked?
I've had my balls sucked many times.
How many different women?
A couple,
That's what I'm saying. I
3 or 5. Ace! I swear to fucking God, dude. Relax, otherwise I'm throwing you out to the wolves.
I've had my balls sucked more than
Yeah.
I've came on faces. So, I'm
Which would be...
I've now came on one face.
That would make no sense at
Rookie
all.
numbers, we gotta get that up.
You're
Yeah.
saying that you haven't came on every face,
No.
that you apparently got your balls sucked.
Alright, raise
Yeah,
your hand
no.
if you
I've
ever
had
came
way
on the
more
face.
balls sucked than come on face.
So you're saying you have, when you get your balls sucked, you did not nut on her face.
No,
but
no. Just sucking on my nut doesn't make me come. It's more of like a power thing. Like, yeah, you sucked on my nut, but it's not enough to get me to come.
Whatever fucking rocks your boat, dog. Damn.
No, whatever sucks my nut.
Where's the
And
most compromising
definitely
place
doesn't
you guys
blow
have
it.
ever had sex?
The most what?
Compromising place you've ever
In
had
the
sex?
living room of
Compromising?
my grandma's apartment, and her door was open, and she was taking a nap.
Oh, risky.
That's disgusting. I hope I was not in this story.
No,
Thank God.
but you have been outside a room while I came.
Yeah, I know that fucking story. I'd rather not talk about it, thank you. I'd rather say that for the therapist.
I was on a camping trip. We didn't even have sex, but we were close. And I was on a camping trip with like family, friends, and shit. So
Like your family or
no,
her?
no, not my family, but I don't want to get into it just out of respect for the people involved. But
On a camping trip, nice.
on a camping trip, yeah, like in a hammock where there was like other campers, like pretty.
Like
close
you had to
by.
be quiet to a degree.
Yes.
Okay, how about y'all?
Across the street from a quote-unquote park from the school. Homegirl told me it was covered. Upon looking at it a couple years later, we were not covered. Everyone could totally see us fucking. There's no way. I don't know how we didn't get caught beforehand. We had the same period off. Me and my girlfriend at the time would go and fuck all the time. I don't know how security or police or other people did not like see us. Clearly, we'd see walkers like kind of like walking up, and they kind of get close and they jog a little bit faster. I just thought that they knew better. Nah, they could totally fucking see us fucking.
How about you, Alex?
Outside my girl's brother's door / kitchen. So
Was he awake?
both him and his girl were awake, and plus the place that we were doing it at, in order for you to go in and out of the front door, you would intercept where we were. So anytime anybody had to go like pee or whatever, you would have to go through there. So that was probably the most compromising situation I've had to be in for that.
All right, no, let me revise mine. So there was one time, so back in the day, Jay remembers this, I was living in basically a grow tent. Like, I was living in a basement in, like, where the laundry room was or whatever, but there was what was formerly a grow tent. So it had, like, you know, you could zip it up and everything, and I had just, like, a tiny-ass little twin mattress in there. And my girl was over, and I thought no one else was there. I thought everyone else was out. And we were, like, fucking whatever. And then we realized one of our roommates, like, came in. And because it was also, like, the makeshift kitchen area. We didn't have a stove or anything. We had a microwave and a fridge and everything. But that was the basis. But she had, like, some sort of blender or smoothie thing. And she was, like, a health nut or whatever. And so, like, I'm fucking whatever. And then we realized, like, she comes in. And so I just, like, slow down, like, to where, like, I'm not making any noise or, like, obvious movement. But, like, I'm still going, like, in and out. And she's, like, making her, like, chia seed, you know, spinach, fucking fruit smoothie and whatnot. She, like, finishes making her smoothie and she finally leaves. And then we go at it, whatever. I finally fucking come. And then we get out, you know, trying to get some water in us or whatever. And then, like, she forgot something and she came back in. And she was like, oh, I didn't realize, guys, you were here. And we were just like, oh, yeah, we're just taking a nap. But, like, our faces are flush red and everything. And, like, she just clearly knows. And, like, I appreciate that she was just a homie and didn't, like, just call us out. Like, it was obvious, but, like, don't call us out, man. Like, we didn't know you were here.
Yeah.
But that was probably like the most compromising. Like, but I just your dick's already inside the bitch, you know. Like you're not
once
stopping
you're
at that point.
Yeah, you gotta commit.
And it was just like a very like I don't know, and it was kind of hot, but it would have been hotter if I felt like I don't know, they knew when they were watching. I don't know. Maybe I'm an exhibitionist and I don't even know it.
Like, yeah, I want the world to watch me while I'm getting off. You should start an OnlyFans. That's what that means, you know? Start recording you.
If I did an
fucking.
OnlyFans, dude, I would do some niche shit, and I don't even care if like someone would like hate on or whatever. But I would do shit where like it's an OnlyFans, but where the chick is just froggy fucking me.
Hey, all you need is.
Do you guys know what froggy fucking is basically?
No.
No, where the chick is basically fucking you. Like, you're laying down there or whatever, and she's like fucking the fuck out of you, kind of like a frog, like just like thrusting whatever. Like, a lot of dudes, like, they're very insecure, I feel, and they feel like emasculated because, like.
By getting pegged from their woman?
No, like. It's still her vagina fucking my dick, but, like, she's doing everything. It's like reverse missionary. I don't know how to fully explain it.
Reverse.
It's basically like she throws her legs up. No, she throws your legs up behind like her shoulders, and she's just like doing all of the work. If that makes sense. It sounds very weird and emasculating, but it's awesome. I highly recommend you try it at least once.
It sounds very uncomfortable.
No, it's super comfortable. You get to be the dead fish.
All right, moving on.
Halibut.
Dan?
Yeah, so we can talk
Anything?
about- yeah, sorry, I don't have anything to contribute more to this topic.
Or another topic we can
Yeah,
refer to?
so-
What you got other than dead fish fucking?
So there was a story from my hometown that I heard that was kind of like surprising, kind of. So there was this, there is a news link as well if you want to click on that. So basically, there was this family in Percy, Pennsylvania. That's the hometown where I'm from. That these like two kids were digging in their backyard. You know, they had like metal detectors and shit. And they look in their backyard and they like dig up this like ammo case. You know, and like ammo case, that's pretty exciting because like an ammo case is a good like is a good thing to use to like store shit and like bury it. So basically, they open up this case and they find a fucking hand grenade in in the fucking case. So obviously they're like freaking out. They back away from it, and then they have to have a bomb squad like come and like make sure it's not a live grenade, which it wasn't. But you know, it's still pretty crazy that they found a fucking case that the kids thought was money, but it turned out to be a live hand grenade. So, and there's a picture of it right there. Yeah. So my question to the group was going to be. You know, have you guys ever like been in the woods or in the mountains and like have found some like crazy shit that you kind of stumbled upon or like had a metal detector? I can speak from experience. I've never found anything personally with a metal detector. Like I actually did legit have a metal detector and like didn't find anything substantial, you know, like nails in the ground and shit, but like nothing like cool. You know, I've found shit in the woods like fucking magazines, like Playboy magazines. I found like car tires, you know. But otherwise, I haven't found any like treasures. Have you guys found any treasure?
I haven't found any treasure as far as that. I do have a story related to a hand grenade though.
Oh.
It is kind of a treasure sense. So I was in school and it was like a brief time that I was in elementary school in between me being like homeschool, whatever. And I was in my class and it had nothing to do with me or what was happening. But I'm sitting there and out of nowhere the alarms are going off and like radios are like chattering or whatever, and we're going to fucking lockdown, and they're like the bomb squad shows up and SWAT team pulls up and all this like crazy ass shit. I guess some kid for show and tell, he decided to bring his granddad's World War II trophy grenade to school.
Oh God.
So the grenade, I guess, was supposedly inactive. I don't know if it had like the hole in it to, so it didn't have any powder, or if it was just old. But anyway, the kid's like, oh yeah, I got my fucking show and tell for the day, and busts out a fucking grenade, and everyone fucking panics. And we had a whole fucking gun drill, and everyone was like evacuated and pulled in, and I don't know. Then they sent me home with the note, and I brought the note home to my parents, and they read it, and they're like, yeah, they should have like called us about that. All right, well, you're not going to that school ever again. So yeah, hand grenades.
I don't know. How about you, Alex? Have you ever...
Treasure in the woods? Or metal
Think
detecting?
we'll
Have you ever done metal detecting?
I think, honestly, treasure for me would be if I find a body.
A quarter?
Oh, yeah, a quarter, too. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, a quarter.
Yeah. I
Quarter of a body?
I
Quarter of a body.
attribute it to my Jew powers, but yeah, that's the most exciting thing I found. It's just like $20, just walking, just on a fucking random trail, just finding money or something like that. Or no, okay. This was a previous Dom, not a current Dom, but there was back in the day, where I'm just chilling, doing my own thing. I didn't have a whip or anything. I'm riding the light rail / buses, right? And I don't think I ever even told you about this, Jay. But there was a time, so when I would have to take the bus, pretty much almost the entire route of the bus. Like, I would say maybe like minus 10 routes, but pretty much all the way to the end of the line before the light rail. I would half the time pass out, or I'd play my game on my fucking phone or fucking my Switch or whatever. But then I would get to the light rail, and I would have to wait like 10 to 15 minutes for the next light rail to come. And so I'm just sitting there, and I'm just waiting one morning, just half asleep or whatever. And I look over, and I just see like 2 seats down from me, and there's just a fucking little fucking tiny dime baggie or whatever. And it was some dirty.
Ooh.
And I just looked around, and I was all sketched. I'm like, oh, this is set up or whatever. And then I was like, oh, no, that's a small amount. And I was like, no. And I'm not going to lie. Later I got to work, and I crushed some of it up, and I was very efficient that day at work. And I'm not advocating or encouraging anyone to just try random substances, but as someone who has partaken in a various drugs, whatever, I knew what it was. Obviously, I didn't have a tester. I didn't know if it was mixed or anything, but I could tell it was relatively clean as far as dirty can be clean, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I guess that was my best find, was just random drugs that somehow got
Definitely
left at a light rail. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a fun 2 days that I didn't sleep, but but it was also nice in the sense of like, it's very liberating to find like hardcore drugs that like are very easy to be addicted to, if we're being honest, just randomly, because then you can just do them. But now you don't have a plug, so it's significantly way more difficult to get addicted to.
At that
like
point.
It's way easier to just have a binge on like again, I'm not advocating for anyone to do heroin, but if you just find some, that's way better than finding a heroin dealer. Because if you just like find a heroin dealer and you're curious, you try it, and if you like it, now you got a guy you can go to. But when it's just a random thing, now I have to actively seek it out. And I'm way too much of an introverted person to just start hitting people up and be like, yo, you got that H? So, finding drugs randomly that you normally wouldn't do, that's a good treasure.
Yeah, I would agree.
Definitely makes the search a lot easier.
But then it was terrible. I would say maybe it's just the addict in me. After all that was done, then for like the next 2 weeks, I was just instinctively like checking every bench Every time I was around the library, I'm like, oh, is anyone else gonna slip
Come
up?
on, someone has to have something here.
But that's such a very rare thing. So it's probably not gonna happen that often. But still.
No, especially like that too, just free on the fucking bench.
Yeah. Again, I was just like suspicious. Like, it's almost like you stumble across and you just see like a fucking duffel bag of cash. It's like,
Yeah.
this
like,
is too good to be true, man.
Yeah.
I'm on one of those weird what would you do fucking scenario.
If
TV
you guys
shows.
found a duffel bag full of cash and it had like $1,000 in it, you guys walking away with that? You
Oh
guys,
yes, I'm making a porno.
You're what
Okay,
now?
no. So
You're making a porno with
Wait.
what? The fucking cash?
Duffel bag cash, yes.
What do you mean? You're fucking the
Why?
cash?
No, I'm making a porno video.
With the cash? Like you're fucking it?
Yeah,
The
no,
bag?
I'm going to get
Eh.
a production set and start a porno video that will go viral.
What do you call
why
it?
are you
porno?
leaving? No, you're just leaving a paper trail.
Nah.
You're not at least gonna get credit?
For me, it all depends on like how obvious is the bag of money. Like, did I just accidentally like I fell into a bush and then I found it, or was it like so obvious that I was like, oh, there's this weird stash? Because that's my thing. Like, if it's just so obvious that like
Yeah, no. You were walking down the street and you had a brief fainting fit from dehydration between you and the bus before you got to your destination, and you tripped into some bushes and you found a bag and haven't before.
in that scenario, I'm leaving it for 24 hours and I'm coming back, and if it's still there, I'm taking it.
It's not gonna be there in 24 hours. What the fuck are you talking about? It's not gonna be there
Okay,
in 24
cool.
hours.
Cool. I
You
didn't
just missed
accidentally
out.
get
No, you
involved
just
in
missed
some
out
drug
on
top.
a chance of owning
Okay,
a
Alex.
disco.
Okay. Alternative scenario: you stumbled across it and you take it. You just stole fucking $1 million from the cartel,
Yeah,
and now you have a target on your back.
yeah,
It's only like 10 grand in there.
that's fine. I can blow $1 million before they find
Let's say
me.
hypothetically you look it up, you open up the thing and they're like, all right, it's like 10 grand.
Yeah, because it's not gonna be $1 million.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna buy a lot of drugs with it. What's the
Okay,
point?
all right, cool. You bought a bunch of drugs, but now you have a hit out on you from the Mexican cartel because you stole $10,000.
As long as I'm on the drugs, we should be cool.
No, Alex. I don't think you understand how the cartel works.
I
Any of them.
100% understand how the cartel
Yeah,
works.
you're dead.
Decapitation.
Yeah, you're dead.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, dead, yeah. So
For
decapitation,
$10,000 worth of drugs, no, it's not worth it, and that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
I need to know
okay.
that it's not hot, and it was just genuinely through some crazy circumstance. Because my logic is that lump of sum of money is not going to be left there for over 24 hours.
That's fair.
Your Jew gets in you. I like it. I went
No,
straight, I
my
went straight
survival
for the bag.
instincts kick in.
Went straight for the bag.
No, you went straight for the bag. I waited 24
No,
hours.
that's what I'm saying. I went
Yeah.
straight for the bag. I want the bag. I want to spend the bag. I want to love the bag. That
I'm
bag's
very
mine now.
confused about your stance on.
I hope you guys know I'm totally fucking joking, but yeah.
But also,
no.
then you're backing yourself in a corner with this, with the jab. So it's like you gotta pick a side.
I mean, honestly, obviously, I wouldn't do it if it's, if there's a lot of heat on it. Yeah, because
What if
there's
it
a lot
was
of cartel.
What if it was
Obvious, that's what I'm
$10,000 worth of cocaine?
And what's gonna be obvious if it's
Okay,
just
no,
in the
drugs
fucking middle of
is
a
different.
park? That's
Drugs is
obvious.
different.
Drugs that at that point it would be more obvious than cash,
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying.
because cash would at least be like, oh,
Wait,
somebody dropped cash.
if it was
but
drugs, then you would just do the whole bag real quick. You wouldn't wait
no,
for
I
hours,
would take
or
a
like
small
what?
amount of it and then just dip.
Are you? Were you?
Like snag like a
You
handful.
wouldn't take
You
like
wouldn't grab the
so
thing.
you get a $10,000 bag.
Yeah,
full
what's
of
the
cash,
difference?
right?
Whether-
You wouldn't
whether-
take
whether you grab
5,000 out of it.
Because it's going to be way less noticeable.
But
and
you're
they're
not
not
take
gonna-
drugs.
They're not going
How's
to
that
track
gonna be
down
less
the guy.
Whoa!
That
Yeah,
makes
but
no
whether you grab a
sense.
little bit of it or the whole thing of it doesn't
How
matter
is
because you
not
just
grabbing
stole something from the
stacks of
fucking
cash?
from the fucking mob. Whether you take
Okay,
one
if I
above
take
or
5
the whole
grams of
fucking bag,
cocaine out of 100, I
it's
don't
still
think they
your
care
fucking
near
head.
as
Yeah,
much.
they're gonna come fucking after you because their fucking shit's missing
Yeah,
regardless.
because their shit is exactly compared to like a stack of 5.
Whether you take like a quarter of it, or the whole fucking
Bro,
thing.
I disagree. I think they would care more if you took the whole thing compared to... Because no, 'cause
No.
here's the thing. If it was just left there for a long time and you took a small amount and then they came across of it, they're just going to assume
No.
whoever dropped it off shorted them.
Okay.
They're not going to initially just be like, compared to if you take the whole thing.
No, but if they found out that some gringo was walking around with their fucking cocaine and was doing it all, it doesn't matter if you took like a certain amount or like the whole thing, you're gonna die regardless. And that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So if you're going to take
Without
the
a
thing,
doubt.
you
Might
may
as
as
well
well take it all.
Okay.
Yeah. At that point, because
Yeah.
you don't.
Okay, yeah, at that
Otherwise, it's
point.
off with your fucking head.
You either leave you leave with no drugs or you take all of it.
Yeah.
That's all
Okay,
your options
and
are.
maybe this is just the addict in me speaking. If it was just solely drugs, I'm being way more risky compared to if it's money. I'm way more cautious if it's
Yeah.
money.
I feel
would
that.
understand. I would understand that a lot more. To be honest with you, yes, that would make sense.
Yeah. Taking the drugs, leaving the money.
Would you guys ever do PCP?
Up my rectum, I would want to try that.
PC. Why is that the
like,
drug you're
like,
gonna
hold on,
choose?
like with the syringe, or with like your girlfriend pegging
No, just
you, or
rectum.
like
just like you know how they do coffee enemas, just like
No.
that. You don't. So
Enlighten me.
coffee enemas essentially they put like
Into the
coffee
mic.
grounds or whatever. They put coffee grounds or whatever, and they essentially take a tube and put it in their rectum, and coffee enemas.
I don't understand that. I understand alcohol, maybe even then.
I mean
no.
PCP because it goes directly
No,
to the
no,
bloodline.
but I'm just saying the fact that you said cop, like that one's really weird to me. Like,
Oh yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. PCP though, because that goes directly to the bloodline.
so why do I have to do it through the butt then?
Because it goes directly to the bloodline. You can. What do you mean?
it's either that or you mainline it through your veins.
I'd rather do that.
Oh, then you're not gonna get as high
As
as you
someone
would
who's
with the
doing
rectum.
enough
I mean, I don't
plasma.
know, man.
I'll take a needle way more than up the butt.
Would you rather inject caffeine into your veins or have it shoved up your ass by a water force?
Oh, okay, no, you're right. Caffeine probably through the butt, just because I feel
B.
like I'd kill myself
That sounds
shooting
delicious.
up caffeine.
Bodega style.
Also, that sounds really dumb. But also, real quick, I just have to go on a tangent too, because it reminded me. So when I was at Sprouts, right? I always check. So it baffles me. Sprouts will just have a random cart, and it's all like their discount, like shit that doesn't sell. Because Sprouts is the type of place that they'll take a chance on shitty, gimmicky, like healthy food kind of shit that just sucks.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's the Sprouts. I can do
And
that.
so one of them that they had, I don't remember the name of it, but basically the whole premise of it is that it was a like a coffee / caffeine like energy bar, but it's supposed to be like coffee flavored or whatever. And so the whole premise is like, you don't have time to make a cup of coffee, just eat this bar.
Oh, so it's a coffee bar.
Yeah, and it was just like, that's so stupid to me.
That's dumb.
How short are you on time that you can't make a fucking pot of coffee? That you have to consume, I don't even know how many calories in it, and that's not even the point.
What,
Like,
do you
that you
know-
have to eat your caffeine.
Yeah, and do you know how long it takes to actually make a pot of coffee? It does not take that long at all.
Yeah, just wake 5 minutes up earlier, man.
Exactly.
But
like
if you
5 minutes.
are waking up and you're fucking late and you're running through, you don't have time for a shower, let alone a cup of coffee.
Okay, caffeine pills have existed since the 80s.
Caffeine
And
pills.
fuck the liver.
Well, at that point, just
Eat
take some
something.
cocaine.
It's just weird to me, because let's be honest.
And there's probably
No
protein
caffeine.
in it, and it helps with breakfast. in a
That's not
sense,
gonna
'cause-
taste good either. It's just drink a fucking cup of coffee. You can't tell me you can't find any time in the first hour of your day to make a fucking single cup of coffee.
You wake up late. You gotta go. You
Cool.
don't got time.
You can stop literally anywhere.
No, you don't have time. You gotta go.
Yeah, you're late.
You can grab a thing to shove in your mouth and have caffeine in it, rather than to stop in the fucking what? Starbucks,
Okay, again, at that same
drive-thru,
point,
like,
you could have preemptively just bought caffeine pills.
No.
Not necessarily.
No,
because
if you're preemptively buying coffee bars, you could buy caffeine pills.
Yeah, there's
no,
not
because
caffeine
essentially
pills inside the
you're
fucking
buying the
King
coffee
Soopers.
bars because you know you have time to actually consume
But that's
the bars.
the thing, they're not at King Soopers. No, it's at Sprouts.
Okay, and
Sprouts isn't gonna be if you're that strapped on time, you're not gonna be able to stop at a Sprouts.
that's white privilege.
No, I'm just saying if you're able to preemptively buy this immediate acting thing that's
for
faster
backup.
than coffee,
For backup, yeah, for backup in case.
caffeine pills,
Which are available at Sprouts.
yeah, or at a Walmart. You can buy fucking caffeine pills at Walmart.
I would rather eat a bar than have some pills. What's the difference? Is there a difference? What does it matter? Does it really matter?
Yeah,
This is argument on nothing? Because it sounds like they're the same thing.
No,
What's
it's
the
the
point?
nutrition value. You're just wasting calories on
What do
this
you mean wasting
thing.
and?
You might as well just do the way more instantaneous fast activating thing as a pill. That's gonna
But
activate
there's
way faster
probably more
than the bar.
benefits in the bar as far as like protein and stuff like
then you have
that,
to-
rather than the actual coffee
Well,
itself,
according
right?
to Sprouts, not that
Well,
beneficial because
you ha-
But
you
as
have to
compared to an actual cup of coffee, though, like it's actually something in your system that's digesting rather than a shot of
No, if
fucking
anything,
caffeine
the caffeine's
that's
gonna be
dehydrate you. Yeah, but
detrimental. It's
but
not
the
going to be
bar is
as
to eat.
stronger because if you're just drinking caffeine, it's going to be stronger than if you're also consuming calories. That's going to lower the benefit of the caffeine.
It all goes into your digestive system, makes it easier for your system to digest. And
I mean,
anything-
easier to digest, but it's not
probably
as effective.
Yeah, probably left caffeine shits. I'm tired of shitting my cat.
Okay, but you're not going to be as awake.
I'm not awake when I have coffee anyway. It's kind of like I'm dead inside, but my body's shaking.
Moral of the story: just smoke crack.
Really, dude, I'm with that. I'm with that. We should legalize crack.
I'll sign that petition.
I'll sign that fast as shit.
I'll
You gotta get it
register
all-
to
you gotta go
vote
in.
just so I can sign the petition for crack.
I'm with that. Anyone else for
AP.
crack?
I second.
2030
Third.
president, legalize crack.
Yeah! Hey,
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Yeah, because let's be honest, Alex, you probably have the least bad of a track record out of all of us.
Oh, yeah,
You're the
nothing
most
on
likely to
history.
become president out of all of us.
in all honesty.
Yeah.
So we gotta start working on you now. So
Let me go ahead, start a campaign with how skinny I am, saying, "Hey, let's legalize crack." It's the first thing we do.
No, you don't
not
lead
like
with that.
You subtly infer it throughout lots of degradation.
And it's gonna be vegan crack.
And you know what? If someone's gotta get their dick sucked, then fuck it. You gotta arrange for someone to get their dick sucked, not by
I'll
you.
arrange someone to get someone's
Obviously,
dick sucked,
unless
but I'm not doing
unless
the
you want to
dick
save some
sucking.
money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah,
I'm okay
yeah,
with that.
yeah.
I will go for president for that. I will save my country.
And speaking of which,
I believe
so
everyone should get their
if you're
dick
gonna be if you're gonna become president, you gotta help enforce these policies. I gotta talk about, dude, with global warming, and I know this like a top thing that's been well known, but our environmental footprint, dude, we're so fucked. I recently have been doing some research and like seen some videos and whatnot, and it's just insane how fucked we really are. Because, so first off, so I didn't fully realize this. So you want to know, you know how it's become very popular, how it's on our own, it's the individual blame, like, you gotta be eating less meat, you gotta be having an electric car, like, it's on the individual person to make these
I like a Big
choices to improve the environment. You want to know what that really became popularized with? Around 2005, BP, the oil company, were the ones who started the campaign that it should be a personal responsibility and that it's your fault that the environment's so fucked. And don't get me wrong, we all can each do our own part. However, it's been basically shown that if one of us, you know, in our average age, like a male in their mid-20s, if you were to somehow convert to the most efficient, like, you have an electric car, you don't use electricity, you don't eat meat and
Nope.
everything,
Nope.
if you were just the most environmentally conscious as possible as you could be, you would save 1 second out of all of the environmental energy, like extension, you know, for the expected life expectancy of our planet. And that's not to say, you could argue, hey, 1 billion people with that 1 second, that adds up to a lot of time.
I like me.
But here's the real interesting thing that I found out,
Fuck
is
that shit.
it's a common knowledge that, you know, it's usually the more well-off countries that are, you know, not energy efficient, you know, more detrimental to the planet. However, 63% of, like, our emissions and shit that's detrimental to the environment comes from middle to lower class, like, countries. And here's the real fuck thing with that. The best way to get yourself out of poverty is directly opposed to improving the environment. For example, concrete. Concrete produces 8% of all of our emissions. Like, just making concrete and using it and whatnot, right? So the obvious choice is like, oh, we should stop using concrete, you know, for our housing and everything. But when you're a poverty-stricken country,
That's all you have, and that's all the resources you have.
that's how you're going to create a better. And so you're basically supposed to be asking 63% of the world to hinder their own growth.
Or help me. Help me.
For the environment, for the greater good of the whole world. When they're just trying to fucking survive, man.
Trying to eat, trying to survive.
And here's another interesting thing. When it comes to emissions for creating a car, if you were to switch over to electric, that's great and all. But did you know the emissions to create a car is not even the same amount of emissions that it takes to create 2 meters of road?
Jesus.
And guess what? Even electric cars have to drive on a fucking road.
Yeah, 2 meters of road right there.
Sure.
So it's this weird catch 2020 where like we want to progress the world and make it more efficient, but the more efficient and better we make the world, just fucks our climate entirely.
Yeah. And I like that.
And so there's just no real incentive. And then also on the flip side too, the whole, oh, everyone should just go vegan. Well, guess what? There's still all of these animals that have been mass produced that are still going to take up a mass amount of emissions. And also, on top of this, check this. We create more emissions heating our houses than all of the fucking cars combined.
Jesus.
Are you going to tell people, oh, you got to be cold in the winter to help save the world? Like, and that's the worst part is to actually impact and save our world. We had a whole experiment, with the pandemic where we were in lockdown, no one was driving anything. That whole last year, all that did was drop emissions by 7% for 1 year. And everyone fucking hated it. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So to realistically do that long term, you're just asking the average human to create such a sacrifice, or at least American, not even human, but American or anyone in a more wealthy country to take a sacrifice in their level of comfort that none of us, let's be honest, none of us in this room have been exposed to.
Damn straight. I will never get rid of meat. I love it.
Can you remember last time you went a whole week without heating or air conditioning, like a full-on week, at all?
No.
Whether at your home or in your workplace or anything. And that's the difficult part, is that, and that's also why, and at the end of the day, yeah, it's important for us all to make our own individual contributions, but when we don't have these bigger corporations and these companies and governments acting in that best interest, but they're not going to if that's not the majority vote. But at the end of the day, we can all preach, that we care about these virtues and saving the environment, but when it comes to your own personal discomfort, how much are you willing to fucking deal with to better the world? Are you okay with having 3 months of the year you having swamp ass most of the year because it's just hot as fuck because you can't be real? No, and here's the brazy thing that really baffled me. We have the technology that we can take the CO2 and whatnot in the air and everything that's polluting and fucking shit up, and we can store it underground and then be able to reutilize it later for renewable energy. But the amount of the cost that it is just not viable compared to, and that's why we have these subsidiaries where they legit have, through taxes and whatnot, made gas and all of these fossil fuels and whatnot cheaper just because that's the way more convenient thing to do. And until we start having people, and that's the hard part, until we have people actively investing in these renewable energy sources when they're still expensive, if we're not doing that, it's not going to incentivize anyone in any political office to make that change. Because let's be honest, especially when you have, and this is the downside, of course it's always positive to have short-term elections because then you can get rid of people if they're fucking up. But the issue, especially when it comes to environmental shit, is it's a long-term approach. We're not going to fix the environment in 4 years or in 10 years. It's going to take, hundreds. It's a gradual thing. But when someone only has, say 4 years in office, they're going to get fucking voted out before there's any actual substantial change. And I think that's the huge detriment with our society now. We're in such an instant gratification, like, what are you doing for me now thing. It's hard to, like, sell to even our current generation, like, hey, you're going to have to suffer now for your great-great-great-great-grandchildren that you're never even going to meet to have a better life.
A great example of that is the climate clock. Also known as like a form of a doomsday clock. Originally, it appeared.
I heard about that.
In Times Square, I think, somewhere in New York, in 2020, and it's had a couple different locations. But supposedly, with this time that's being set, it's not like the end of the world, but it's the point of irreversible
damage.
Yeah. And we can't return. So as of now, it's saying 7 years, 299 days, some odd hours, and some odd minutes and seconds of time.
And the trajectory we're at, I feel like that's just going to exponentially decrease.
Yeah, because I feel like it was a lot quicker than it was not too long ago when it was originally being talked about. So that worries me. And also, like, what the hell are we supposed to do, like, as our culture and stuff? Like, a lot of, like...
No, and it's hard, and
like
it goes back to that whole...
even just a couple generations before us, like, things could have been, even if not prevented, like, started to figure out. And, like, do you guys remember, like when you were, like, a little bit younger, there's, like, the whole, like, recycle campaign kind of thing was, like, seeming to, like, kind of being, like, a tail end, like, it was kind of being talked about, like, in the 80s, like, that was a whole, like, movement, and people were trying to, like, figure stuff out, but also, like, nothing ever fucking happened with it. Like, Earth Day happened. Earth Day is a relatively new, like, holiday.
And there were shallow attempts at, like, pretending to give a shit about our fucking environment.
Right.
But no, it was big oil and big fossil fuels that they actually had done studies and they figured out, like, global warming was a fucking thing.
Right.
But they didn't do shit about it because it would get in the way of profits. That's
no, and here's the bitch about this, all of this, and this is what I feel really makes us fucked. As you brought up, with this climate clock, like, we're on a short deadline. Like, we don't have time to experiment and, like, figure out, like, what works in the long term. Like,
yeah,
we have to be taking action now, and that's such a scary thing.
But the problem is that the we isn't even us.
Yeah,
like,
what the fuck are we gonna do? It's not like we could develop
we as in us in this room, we don't have the fucking scientific stuff to figure stuff out and come out with a plan and tell so and so, like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? Because this is why I don't want to have kids, man.
Well, no,
it's one of the reasons.
And it's like the whole thing, like, it's easy to tell everyone, like, oh, it's a small impact, but if everyone went vegan, this would help a certain amount. But, like, when you get told...
It's beyond vegan.
No,
it's vegan and the plastic and the gas and the cars and the fucking people, man. There's so many goddamn people, too. Like,
no, think about it in this perspective. If, like, say all of America, like, immediately tomorrow went 100% vegan, we would impact maybe, like, 2% of all that emissions. But then when you still have all these big corporations and everything taking over, like, over 60% of it, it feels like your contribution is so minimal. So it's like, why are we gonna suffer and not enjoy meat or whatever that helps the environment for that 2% when you have this other majority percent that's gonna fuck us anyways?
Yeah.
And so it generates this apathy, I feel, where you don't even want to be, motivated by it because it's such, like, a drop in the bucket. Like, I'm only going to be on this earth for, say, on average 70-ish years.
Right.
Why am I going to worry about it when the earth is fucked? Like, I'm not going to worry about trying to extend the earth by 100 years when I'm going to be dead by there anyways. Like,
yeah.
It goes back to that whole diminishing results. Like, I'm not going to spend my whole life suffering to extend the future. Like, and sorry, that's just an inherent human, and maybe not even human, just species thing. I'm not going to suffer my own livelihood for generations I'm not even going to see.
And in addition to that, it's also, like, this is the world that we are already placed in. How come there weren't things in care before that we were here? Because obviously we've been on this track for a very long time, and it's been vocalized about it.
Right, and now instead of
Like-
us making a gradual change, we're expected to make this 180.
1.8, yeah.
It's not fair.
And it's why motherfuckers want to go to Mars.
Yeah, and I
Really?
think that's the worst part is we're
Other than
starting to
it's not just curiosity.
it
It's like,
starts to
hey,
become
you
the
know what? We
mentality
actually
of-
might need to leave this fucking place.
stop mending shit. Let's just go on to the next thing.
Yeah. Well, and I think a big turning point was when we, especially with America, I can't say with other countries and cultures and stuff, but I definitely feel as America, there was a turning point of when we went from renewable society, like we would take things and we would fix them and things were built to last, to a trash or recyclable society.
No, and that's
it's
the
like,
thing.
don't worry about X, Y, and Z. You just buy a fucking new one. And let's go grab another one. And no, everyone has a fucking big old trial of fucking plastic bags underneath their couch, and they're all throwing
I'm glad
stuff
you brought
away.
that up because the funny thing about it is, the 3 R's is supposed to be renew,
Reduce, renew, reuse, reduce, reuse, recycle.
recycle. And you know what everyone always focuses on? Recycle.
Yeah.
And guess what's the least efficient out of those
Recycle.
three?
And you know what's crazy? Is when you have a recycling plant, in order for that to be taken away and dealt with, there have to be bids with. So even if you have a recycling plant or a recycling program, and someone comes and takes it away, and then it's just sitting on a land until there's another bid to come through and actually use it as recycling. And even then, the amount of things that are inserted inside the recycling bins and submitted for recycling, there is such a low amount of things that are put there as compared to what things are actually able to use, because like the rules, like there can't be if it's a pizza box, there can't be
If there's
cheese
too much oil.
and the fucking oil and everything. Like you gotta wash stuff off, and like it between all that, like no one's wanting to bid on extra things, especially because there's not extra bills happening.
Well, no,
by
and
any means.
especially, like-
So what happens is, instead of it being actually recycled, and not all of it, but a decent amount, is that instead of it actually being like dealt with, it just turns and recycled and turned into another pencil, new car, or new dildo or whatever. It just sits there with the rest of the fucking trash.
No, and
they're
especially
waiting
it's
for
the whole
bids.
thing where it's like, hey man, you should recycle, and it's like, oh, okay, I can do that. But then like, oh, hey, on top of recycling, you have to make sure you divide everything up right. And it's like, okay, that's kind of inconvenient, but I get that. I'm gonna do that. But like, hey, not only do you need to divide everything up properly, you need to now wash off the shit you're about to recycle.
Yeah.
Like, it becomes such a point where you're like,
And
fuck
when
it,
you're
I'm not doing this
and
shit.
when you just finish your Dr. Pepper and you're on your way to an airport, you don't have time to wash out the bottle real quick. That we can submit it. That we can get 75 cents or make a good cause before you could take your flight back home.
And so at the end of the day, I hate to end this on a pessimist note, but it's like, we're fucked, y'all. And
Especially
this is
if
where
this
I get
time isn't
torn
anything
on
correct.
the duality of, hey, we can do something to try to change it now, but it's like, fuck it, we're beyond the point of no return. Like, enjoy this time while you have.
Yeah.
And so, to be honest, after like reviewing and honestly researching all this, like, unless there's some crazy, drastic, revolutionary fucking technology that we haven't even comprehended yet, we're kind of fucked, y'all.
Yeah. So again, according to the climate clock, we need to achieve 0 emissions in, at the time of recording this, 7 years, 299 days and hours and minutes and seconds on that end. That's an incredible feat. Which, I mean, but at least it's not, we have to fix everything by then. It's just like, hey, if we want to start reversing things, this is where we need to be at this time. Otherwise, it's irreversible. So there is still good hope in that, in the sense that maybe something will come through. But
I'm not confident.
I just don't, because I don't see people like really investing inside of that ideology of like saving these things. Like, no, I've heard more things about AI and about North Korea rather than someone like, hey, like I have a device that's going to help clear out the greenhouse gases and like take care of some extra pollution, or like take care of all this trash islands and stuff like that. Like there's like maybe some small inventions, but like not,
Because it's not profitable.
right.
And I don't know, maybe that's
Yeah.
a diss on capitalism, but to be honest, you could argue that even these socialist countries, they're not doing much better when it comes to.
Well, it's a whole planetary world. I mean,
and
look
again,
at
it goes back
all
to the
these
whole thing.
countries.
Because we can't be all unified. How can we reach this like goal of all of us like?
And not even necessarily everyone agrees that there's this particular goal to come across.
Exactly.
A lot of people think that there's nothing happening, and it's like, yo, there's, even if it's not all this per se, there's still things happening, and
More of the
things
story.
need to be achieved.
Love the earth while you can. Go hug a tree while they're still around.
Yeah, fuck Mother Earth, but
Literally.
pleasantly.
Speaking of pollution, I have to pee.
Do you want a bottle?
I can do it during a podcast
No,
right now.
I honestly do really have to piss.
I have
as
to pee, too.
Are we looking to end it? Should I put in a commercial? Should I ramble on? What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, Jake, can you ramble on? Possibly?
I can ramble on for a little bit.
All right.
If we have things to talk about when we come back, I'm with it.
I still have.
Yeah?
Yeah. I still at least have one more topic.
So if we're good to go, then I'll ramble, no problem. If
Yeah.
not, otherwise we'll end it. What do you guys think? Yeah?
Honestly,
I'm not good to go. I may lay down for like 5 minutes or something because I'm just like really.
All right, no.
really
At
fucked
this
up.
point, yeah, we should just end it then.
Alright. Alright.
I apologize.
Bazooka Shack!
Good day,
gang!
We love y'all, beautiful faces.
Thank you for chilling with us.
Pucker up.
Love each other. Take
Hug a
care of
tree,
each
'cause,
other.
Yeah, they're probably gonna burn down anyway.
Stick your
at some
dick in a
point.
hole somewhere. You know, let the earth know that you love it.
But don't put your dick in every hole.
yeah,
Just be careful.
because I might take it.
and that's the lesson of life. Peace!
Is Paul not coming through?
No.
Nah, he's going to go hang out with his girl.